Okay, I will call the meeting to order for April 15th, 2019. Looks like we're missing our flag.
It's over there. No,
It's in the corner.
Oh, I
that's
can't see it
Canada's
from
there.
here.
Oh, there.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Would you like to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, correspondence for today. We have some board appointment requests and looks like a resignation.
Some of those
We had already
had,
approved.
but I think there's some that have not.
Okay, this one, these aren't open. Okay, I see this one's new. Maybe these both too. Charles Newell. Dear Aljo, Alexis, and Randy, my name is Charles Newell. I've been serving on the Crime Victim Restitution Fund Board for the past 3 years. I would like to continue to serve on the board, and I request that you reappoint me to an additional term. And Glenn Malum. I would like to submit my interest for the position of board member of Lincoln County 1st Rural Fire District. I would also be interested in being a board member for Lincoln County Repeater Board, as well as the Crime Victims Restitution Board. Glenn Malum, I said that. And we had already accepted the resignation of Leo Dwayne Veneta, correct? I think that's one of them. And we appointed Terry Jo Heater. Is anyone remembering this besides me?
Yeah.
Galen Liggett to the county hospital board for the reappointment.
Bill Houston too.
And Bill Houston, yes. So did you have anyone else for the
I was just gonna update you. I've been asking around for hospital board members. I asked like 10 people and no one seems to wanna do it. And not because they wouldn't wanna do it, but they just had other conflicts they think they
Okay, let's see.
So I'm still looking, so if people have recommendations or something.
Okay.
And it doesn't just have to be my district, it could, in my opinion, it could be yours or Aljo. Or does it have to be my district?
There are bylaws.
Oh, then we have to.
So we have to look at the bylaws. Do you have the bylaws?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Well, then that would tell us the details. Because
But, okay, well, I can just do for my district. I was gonna say I'm not against.
Well, that doesn't mean that that's what the bylaws say.
Okay.
I'm not sure. This is from Linda Darling. I am writing to express an interest in serving on the Wind Power Economic Benefit Fund Board as outlined in your recent publication. Did we appoint that?
Yes, you do.
We already.
I think Jason Dole is the person that is coming off. So he'd be in your.
But I meant we didn't already reappoint it.
No.
Okay, so does that have bylaws? They do have bylaws because I have those, but I don't remember reading which.
I think it is.
Because this is a Lincoln.
There's one representative per district. And for some reason, you guys should have that list someplace that says the people that I gave you that was inspiring.
Oh, the web fund board.
I do, but what I'm saying is if I need to go look at the bylaws for that again, because if this person doesn't live.
That has to be from your district.
Right,
There's one from each district, plus economic development, plus the chairman of the commission.
So this is the District 1.
I don't know where that person lives.
This is Lincoln Avenue, is what the address is, unless that's a business address. 431 East Lincoln Avenue.
That would be my district, then the first district.
Yeah, so that's not going to work.
Where is Lincoln Avenue?
It depends because we are.
14 Highway is divided.
Yeah, it could be.
District 3 only goes down to North Street. It doesn't go any further south.
Okay.
So it wouldn't go.
I know it goes west.
Yes,
It's
but
west of 14 Highway is your
but not
district,
any
right?
further south than north.
Oh.
It's only north of south, or it's
North Street is up there by.
it's north of north and west of 14 is what the line.
Did you get that?
Wow.
See this? It's Marion, or it's
14 Highway's the line, right?
It's
Between-
Marion. Yeah, it's
You're
this,
Marion,
it's that
yeah.
township. Yeah.
And Beaver'd be Aljo's.
Yes,
Marion
and this
is
is
my
number
township.
1. This is
Oh,
you.
Marion's yours too. Huh?
Marion
Okay.
is mine.
Okay, then Beaver 2 is yours. Elkhorn, I only have Elkhorn, Franklin, and Valley.
Wait a minute. What is this street?
That's the main one that goes Main Street through Lincoln east and west. That's Lincoln Avenue, right? 4th Street is the other main street.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Fourth
sorry.
Street.
It's the corner.
It's-
It's the north corner.
And 6th Street is Highway 14. when you get Lincoln, that's Sixth Street, it's called Sixth Street. Like if, Highway 14 runs through Lincoln, that's Sixth Street. And Main Street, which goes north-south, you know, right by the banks, and that's Fourth Street. Lincoln Avenue is east and west, runs right through town, right out here.
Right,
Where's what now?
so it could be west.
It could be west of 14, so it could
Right.
be your district,
Right.
or Aljo's. Aljo's, I guess, or Indiana, or you're Indiana, right? Alexis?
West.
You can't really tell that little map there. You need a bigger book, right?
I can't tell. I thought it was north was the cutoff, but you're saying that is.
North Street is a cutoff
Commissioner
between
District
Aljo
is
and mine.
It is.
North Street and Sixth Street. which
It's
is
North
Highway
Street, it's,
14.
everything south of North Street and east of 14 would be District 1. Mine, Aljo's is north of North Street. And North Street is right there by Viv's Liquor Store, you know that?
Yeah.
That's North
Yeah, yeah,
Street,
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
it goes to the high school, just north of Lincoln High School.
I live on North Street.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in
Cindy
Aljo's district, but if I cross.
That's
But
north.
Aljo's on this side, but
He's on the north side, yeah. But he's also Marion, he said, so he'd be everything west of 14, north of North Street too. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where yours comes in at. Yours would be south. Yours would be south of North Street and west of 14, right?
Something
Indiana.
I'm
Yeah.
not.
I think, I'm not sure.
I need to look
With the Indiana Township boundary.
But I wouldn't have anything on Lincoln Avenue, right? Because doesn't
Well,
it
you could
stop
have-
at 14?
You would have, yes, you do, because you would have what's on that side, so
The west
there
of
is a Lincoln
14,
Avenue.
which
where
goes to the old
dealership
bowling
is
alley.
at.
Yeah.
The old
That's
bowling
still
alley.
Lincoln on the west side of that.
Yeah, that's still Lincoln Avenue.
Okay.
For about a block or two, and then it gets out in the country in there.
So you have like all the way to Walker's, everything that's west of Highway 14.
Yeah, Alexis.
Walker's.
And south of North
Elevators.
Street.
So then where is
I don't know where that is.
the 400 block?
East or west?
On east.
That'd be over here.
Okay, so
So
then
that'd be
that's out,
my
okay.
district.
I thought you
First
said
district.
was west.
It's east.
Oh, east.
Maybe I didn't say. I just said Lincoln
East.
Avenue. But it's
East,
from
yeah, that's
northeast.
over here.
Okay.
It's actually almost right downtown. Well, no, it's 4 blocks east of down, maybe.
Okay, this one says, I don't know that last name signature.
Who is it?
Do you know? It's James,
You
someone.
know who that is? I don't know.
James Weber. I live on 923 North Fifth in Lincoln, Kansas. I am retired and 70 years old. I'd like to be considered for the position of the hospital board trustees. My phone number is, and I would have the time to do this job.
There you go.
They live directly across from.
They
the
live across
nursing
from the nursing home.
Yeah.
So that's the wrong district.
That wouldn't be, that'd be Aljo's district, not.
Now, I don't think the county hospital board is by districts. We just kind of, when we were appointing them, tried to make sure
This is
that
fine, I know.
all the
Steve's
areas of the
already
county
got
were represented, is the way I
it.
understand
You
it.
wanna see Aljo? That's Steve McBride.
Well, I think we need to look at the bylaws though, because wouldn't the bylaws tell us specifically that
We might want to, maybe we could modify them or edit them or,
you don't have them with you, do you?
what?
That you don't have the hospital board bylaws, do you? on you?
No, not on me here. I don't even have them, I need to get them. Do we want to?
Let's look at the minutes so that we don't
Yeah.
get too far
Yeah,
behind
let's
here, if you don't
not get
mind.
caught in
And
the
because there
weeds
is
here.
more to discuss with the correspondence.
Right, this Steve McReynolds would be all right, he's already in there for fire district, he'd be good in there. In my opinion, anyway.
You said he's already on it, or?
Yeah, isn't he? Didn't he say that?
Now you're retired from the fire board.
It says I'm writing to inform you that I'm interested in joining the board for the first rural fire district.
Oh, okay.
He spent 40 years as a volunteer fireman and retired from that, and would enjoy utilizing his years of knowledge and experience by assisting as an active board member on the first rural fire district board. Stephen McReynolds. Wonder if they report to Rex on the highway and what they do. when that happens.
What, I was looking through our budget, the monthly budget, what's the rescue crew, is that part of the EMS that we have? That
We
when
have,
pay,
we
there's
have a rescue
we have a
squad
budget for like
fund,
$90,000, a rescue fund.
and I believe that's a separate mill levy, isn't it?
Who does that go to the fire department or for the EMS?
It's a rescue
Squad.
squad.
So we have a certain people that do that, huh? I didn't even know that. Huh. Where are they based out of?
Firehouse.
Down there, okay.
Okay, we will have to pick that up when we get a little more information from bylaws, to be
Okay.
sure. And did anyone want to discuss anything about the minutes?
No, I reviewed them, they look good to me.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second?
Which meeting?
April 8th.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded to approve the minutes from April 8th, 2019.
I'll
Is there-
second. I'm sorry.
Is there any further discussion? I didn't see anything. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. And April 11th was a special meeting that we called in order to have an interview, and we did it over the phone. We actually had 2 scheduled for that day, but we only ended up doing 1. And so I don't see anything wrong with the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes there for April 11th then.
I'll second. It's been motioned and seconded to approve the minutes from April 11th, 2019. If there is no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Or did you vote? Did everybody vote?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Soon here we have Lincoln Park Manor. Jonathan Schale will be representing them to talk about I'm assuming the fire doors. That's what that means.
Well, there's one door, it's the one that just comes directly from the kitchen straight out. It's not really a,
Oh, that's what this is about?
Yeah.
This isn't the fire doors?
No.
The replacement of the
well,
hallway
he may be
doors?
talking about that too, but this
Okay.
is, he asked me if, I was up there looking around and he had this one door and it needs fixed, it's cracking and breaking away. And I said probably just get quotes. And then he got back to me and said it may have to be like a special size and then, so I said, I told him basically go ahead and do it because it's like $200. But then it got up to maybe being 4 or 5 and I said, you better bring to the board here so you guys would know, okay?
Okay.
I don't want to start telling them to fix big projects
Okay.
without you guys' input.
Okay.
So that's why he's here. I think.
Okay.
There may be other fire doors too that need
Well,
something, right, eventually.
we have not ever followed up on that. I mean, I feel like that
Well, maybe
burden
we
was
should-
on the $70,000 that we already paid to the architect, but, you know.
Well, we need to follow that up probably. Jonathan does, I guess. He's the guy now to do all that, right?
Well, I think that we put an architect in charge of that entire project, and that was part of, his drawings were part of we've never received them. We've never gotten any pieces of paper for that money that we paid.
Maybe we could have Jonathan check in on that, huh?
I would appreciate that, yeah.
Well, we'll ask him here. We
Um,
will do that.
Okay, so we have a street plumbing bill. This is all Lincoln Park Manor, it looks like. Street plumbing for refrigerant for a cooler in the kitchen, and labor, $152.50. Lincoln Park Manor, that Arjo company. I forget what they do. It doesn't say on here.
$800.
$827.35. I forget what this company does. Because it just has a document. There's nothing like that. You wrote a note, Dawn, that said Hannah check on this. Did she get information on what this Arjo bill is for $827 something?
Well, I don't know,
Okay, we'll talk to
because I
her.
would have thought that it would have been attached to it.
Yeah,
So
there's-
maybe I didn't actually give it to him. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I stuck that in the wrong box.
Okay,
We'll look
these
again.
are from Lincoln Building Supply, something called Suns SHD, looks like patch, a PTCH for $13.99, I don't know what that is. And,
Roofing probably.
oh,
He was up there
okay.
fixing some more roof leaks around that vent drain, that thing had slipped down.
And then some sort of remover, it says goof off remover, but I'm wondering if that's supposed to be
That's just.
goo gone, or
That's,
whatever.
that's like stuff to remove, like tar that is like dissolves it.
$3.69. You think this is roof related?
I think so.
Okay, this is the refrigerator, this is potentially the roof. And this one is from General Parts Group. For a mixer, I'm assuming that's the kitchen mixer. I don't know that make, Blakesley.
I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is. What's it for?
Unit in shop, plugged into test, found out the drive was not engaging, pulled the whole unit apart and the gears, tested motor would not run, new capacitor. We'll have to test more, still in the process of figuring out what's going on. Put transmission back together, tested unit, motor not strong enough to turn the mixer. Maybe this is like the big floor mixer, because it's $267 for labor, but it doesn't, called multiple place in the manufacturer and found out the motor is discontinued. Could try a new start capacitor, but they don't make the one that's in this unit anymore. We can only go back with factory parts. Unfortunately, we could not fix the unit and the customer can come pick it up. Do we own that? Is that a big industrial mixer that they're,
I believe we do.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
so it's out of commission and it was $267 to check it. What was I going to look up? Oh, I think
The RJO one we have, it's just a different color now.
we already paid it.
Yeah, we paid it last.
What was that for?
It said battery pack in the description.
Maybe that's the fire and sprinkler system or something. I don't. Well, we can ask Jonathan when he comes also about
Yeah.
the power washing for the
Yeah.
kitchen hood. And I will sign these ones from Lincoln Building Supply for the roof issue unless there's an objection.
No, I'm fine with it unless I'll do it, I guess.
And the refrigerator. I assume we own all the appliances in there.
Yeah, refrigerant.
Okay. Those can go back to Dawn. And these are the official minutes that she, have you done these yet?
No,
So once she does all the minutes that we get in our email and once we approve them, they go into an actual print form binder
Oh,
like this, and so
okay.
then we have to sign.
sign them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
Is that every quarter?
Oh, it's whenever she gets them done, I think, as she
Should I sign
goes
them?
through the year.
I
It's-
hand it
Should I
kind of
sign
looks
them
like-
now?
Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm.
We have some downtime. Our goal is to do it monthly, but sometimes we just don't quite get there.
Every sheet needs signed?
Yes, well, the ones that have a lot, some of them are just,
You already got that one signed.
well, that's Terry,
Well,
so,
do you need to sign that?
yep, just start here.
Okay.
You two can, and I'll
I'll just
pick it up
sign
later.
bottom here on the.
I'm gonna try to get to the internet here.
We sign that resolution there.
Yes.
Do we need to sign some more up here?
Yep.
Oh,
Mhm,
okay,
mhm. And then the clerk signs on that side.
I guess nothing on this sheet, huh?
Right, some of them are just the
Some of them are
continuation of the
just
minutes.
sheets, okay.
And
I don't wanna get them mixed up
she
there.
just has you sign at the end of
It don't
each
matter if you get
meeting.
them mixed up, Randy.
Okay,
They'll sort them. They sort them by
Okay.
numbers.
okay.
And I'll double check and make sure you guys signed everything, so you don't stress too much. One day, if we're ever organized, we'll try to bring those
Mr. Schale's not here, huh? I guess.
I think,
Oh, there he goes right there.
Right here, you missed that.
Speaking of, oh,
hi, come on in.
Hello. You ready for me?
Yes.
Okay. What we have is the kitchen door up there at the nursing home. It was put in pre-2003, and it's a wood door, and over the years it has just started splitting and cracking, and it's to the point where I have bandaged that thing, but it's to the point it needs to be replaced. And Randy has been up there when he was touring things and seen the door. I went over to the home center and I asked about the pricing for a steel door for that permanent, never to be replaced again. And her pricing up there at the home center is $571. But the reason it's high is because these have to be milled to set within the hinge dimensions that we have. So I contacted Topeka Foundry and also Overhead Door about it, and their pricing is the same for the steel door. It's $403 or $405, and they actually come out and they deliver it, they install it, and do all of that. Any additional milling that needs done, they do it right there on site. They don't. There's no. And the reason
So you're
Topeka,
saying if you order it here, you need to pick it up and put it in yourself?
yeah, we have to do it ourselves, and if it's messed up, if any of the stuff is messed up or they didn't mill it correctly, then it has to be sent back. But if the Topeka Foundry guys do it, they actually will take care of it right there on the site to deal with whatever needs to be done. And these guys can actually probably do a better job of it in reality because of the fact that they are the original installers of all of those doors in the facility. When those doors were put in many years ago, Topeka Foundry was the ones that did all those doors. So it was really easy for me to get the proposal from them because they already have all the dimensions for those doors. So
what was their price again? I don't know.
it's $405, and that's for them to deliver it to the facility and install it themselves, which is basically
That's cheaper.
$150 than Vicky, $170 cheaper than Vicky. You know,
That's that door you showed me.
Yes,
That was cracking and
yes.
falling apart.
I was
Okay.
going to get pictures, but it's been a crazy day this morning. So
No, I agree. It needs fix. It was cracking down the middle, and it was the side
And-
outside was it was weathered and rotten away there. So
and this is also going to include the installation of a door. I don't know what you would call it, but it's a post that's about this tall. It's got a rubber stop on it, and then it got a hook that will be installed on the door, so that when they open that door for the
kitchen. So.
the kitchen for the delivery people to come, they can actually hook that door, and then we're not catching it and banging it and back and forth, and we don't end up with any issues in regards to that. So I've already ordered the doorpost thing, and I got that in from Vicky the other day. I just need to, once we get the door, we'll put that in and install it and take care of that, so we don't have this issue no more. The doorknob is new that's on there. It doesn't need to be replaced. It can be used in the new door. So I mean, all of that part is there. So
Okay. Thanks for coming. I asked him to come like I told you because I basically said first just go ahead and fix it. But then when it got to be a little pricier, I said you better come here because I don't want to make big money decisions without you and Aljo, agreeing to it.
Vicky had a door up there that we were crossing our fingers that had been special ordered from Topeka Foundry for the hospital, but it didn't fit. It was actually too short. We'd have had to have done some major adjusting.
Okay.
But,
So then I think that sounds pretty good. Don't you? Should I make a motion to have him do that with that?
I think we would need the motion since he brought bids, and thank you for doing that.
And then we have some other questions for you. I'll make a motion to approve this, but then we have some other questions for you. Okay?
That's fine.
Okay, I'll make a motion to purchase that door with that Topeka Foundry, right, and have them install it for the price you quoted.
It's $405. We do not need the fire labeling on it.
Which
What,
is
Don?
additional.
It's a $30 additional for the label.
I move to approve,
Okay, I need it listed here.
the
We don't need the fire
company
label?
and the dollar
No, I need
amount.
it.
I did call and speak with the fire marshal, and the fire marshal said that does not have to have a fire label because it's an exit door. Exit doors are not required to have that label,
Okay.
only doors inside the facility. So there's no necessity of having a fire label on it. So it would be $405.
And it's
installed.
not, and it's $30 for this.
Yeah, we don't
label.
need that.
Oh, okay, you just said that, okay.
Yeah, we don't need the
Okay,
label.
all right. I'll edit that motion, Don. I'll make a motion to, purchase this, exterior steel door for the back hall of the kitchen, from the Topeka Foundry Commercial Door Company for the price of $405. And I guess that's it. And they'll install it too, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They will.
Okay.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to purchase the door from the bids that were brought forth from the company Topeka Foundry. Is there any further discussion? If not, those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. And unopposed.
Is that a copy of the bid I can have?
I can make, you can have this one. I've got this in my email, so.
Okay,
So.
thank you.
Also, Jonathan, we were talking before about, you wanna talk about some of the bills or?
Yeah, well, the first question I have, since we're talking about the doors, the fire doors for the
Mm-hmm.
inside, and you said you had called overhead door, and isn't that the one that got the bid, or is that not the one?
That I'm not sure. Greg, that is not information Greg gave me when he left. So I'm not 100% positive about the fire doors. He is up there working on the water softeners.
Oh, water softener.
On the water softeners, because we're having a serious issue with those.
Greg's up there now?
Yes.
For streets, doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Could you
there's.
think you could ask him and he would have information on those fire
He
doors?
said you guys have the bids.
Oh,
We
which-
had already approved it, we had already approved the dollar amount, but the last that Terry was in correspondence with us about it, because he was the one following up, they wanted, well, between Terry and Greg, they wanted a blueprint to indicate what the fire rating was for each surrounding wall where the doors were to be installed, which we felt was ridiculous because we chose the
That is-
highest level fire door anyhow. We just went ahead and paid for the optimum, what rating, whatever that means. I'm not too familiar with that. However, they still wanted this drawing, and the last I knew, Greg was going to contact the architect to get that drawing from him, because we have paid very good money to the engineering firm.
To Eric.
And
Okay.
yes, and we should be able to get any and all drawings pertaining to the project there. So
Okay.
maybe
That I
if you
can
would like,
accomplish. I
Yeah.
can handle that. I talked with the gentleman who had headed that up, but he is no
The-
longer working for Overhead Door. That gave Overhead Door its bid.
and I'm not sure that was the. I don't have that in here. I think I put it down the other hall.
I think it was Overhead Door because the gentleman I spoke with down in Wichita last week said that he asked, "Has there been any word on the bid?" And I said, "I have no idea. Greg didn't give me that information." So
Well, he wouldn't be asking that because they were the ones requesting the drawing in order to actually bring the doors and do the install. So
Okay.
maybe you could just.
okay. I'll just
Find
call.
that out.
I'll call Overhead Door and find out what the whole deal with that is.
yeah, can you check on all that?
Yeah, I will.
And then this is a bill that was sent to us, and I know you don't do this, but this is a power washing bill for the hood in the kitchen.
Mhm.
So that needs to go to your accounts payable person.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then there was a mixer. Do you know anything
Yes,
about the mixer?
the mixer,
Okay.
we took it to Wichita because the mixer had froze up, which that's
The
one of
big industrial mixer in
yes,
the kitchen.
it had froze up, and I took it down there to them, and they couldn't fix it. And so the mixer is actually because they said the motor is bad and the motor needs to be replaced. They also had no ability to get the parts for the motor anymore. Well, there was a guy in Salina at Salina Electric Engine and Pump Repair that actually had the start thing on the start capacitor that was needed for that, and he's got the mixer, and he's going to supposed to be shooting me a quote on what it will cost to have it fixed, because that is we went online to look up the cost of that mixer, and that's about a $6,800 mixer.
I believe it.
So
So I'll approve this bill to pay the labor on the first company then that looked at it and made that determination. That just goes in that pile.
Okay.
For you. And then the roof.
just
Could you update us on the situation there?
I got a phone call on Friday from the insurance company, and they are sending a gentleman up the end of this week, and they are going to cut the roof open, and he's bringing a roofer, and they're going to cut the roof open and take a look at what damage is done underneath there, so that they know what needs to be covered, and then the next step from that is going to be looking at getting it fixed, because we'll know more about the damage that was done from the leaks. And I've got them all stopped. There's no more water coming down through the roof when it rained.
You fixed that vent pipe, you
Yes,
said, right?
I got all of that all taken care of.
Yeah.
Got nothing else coming through the roof at this point.
Yeah, good.
And so,
forgive my memory, but when we used the insurance company to replace the roof, we did all the shingling and not this portion? just
because
the TPO?
there wasn't no apparent damage at that point.
This is the TPO covering, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
When
And
they
is that the only portion that wasn't redone at the time?
yes, yeah. And but when they examined that entire thing, the only evident damage was the those, what do they call those, skylights? The skylights that were cracked from the hail, and those were replaced when they did that. And as the insurance adjuster told me, he said sometimes on those flat roofs, there's no apparent damage until actually you get snow or whatever sitting on there for an extended period of time that starts to melt and soaks down through.
That's what happened, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, as I understand it, that you guys redid that whole west side with the reshingled from hail damage, right?
Yes, that has all been redone.
That's that slanted roof there. That's a newer part of the facility.
From where the old building attaches to the new building,
Right.
all the way down and around to
And
assisted
the east
living.
part, which is the old part, is what's leaking, and that's got that old
Yes.
flatter roof, which is
Yes, that white material that's
right,
on
and
there.
that's okay. Okay, very good. So you've talked. So that was
That was the insurance man.
insurance
and then-
guy talked to you, and then they had an appraiser actually check. They're going to cut in there to determine.
Yes,
how bad it is.
he's going to be here this
Okay,
week.
good.
On either Thursday or Friday. He was working on his schedule, and he's supposed to call me this afternoon
Okay.
to let me know exactly what day he's going to be there, so that I can get them up on that roof, show them the area in which it was leaking. And it's
Yeah.
it wasn't the whole extent of the roof. There's just a section that's about, I'd say, 40 feet long or wide, 40 feet wide by the entire width of the roof there
That's bad.
that has got some leak, that's got the
Okay.
leaking that's going on. So which is unfortunate. Those things are not cheap to replace, I'm
Well,
sure.
no. Okay.
The one last question I can think of is we have received some bills for snaking drains and replacing toilets and things like that. Now I know that you weren't in this position of maintenance and Greg was, and now he's working for the company that is coming in to do these things. To what capacity can we expect that this?
Not very much more, because I wasn't set up originally. When I first took this position, I wasn't set up. I mean, it was just like handed to me. And so when all of that happened, I was not prepared to deal with that stuff myself, because we didn't have the ability up there to do so, because all of that stuff belonged to Greg and he took it away. So I've since remedied the majority of the
Are you
problems.
speaking of tools and things
Yes.
like that? Oh, okay.
So
So
So-
you'll be able to snake
there's,
drains.
there's not any of
and-
that stuff I can't do. It's
Okay.
just that at that point, when I took over the position, I did not have the tools the equipment to deal with it. So
Okay.
it took me a couple of weeks to get that all put together. So
Okay. Yeah, we just wanted a little bit of clarification on how
So-
much maintenance we
the
can
only
expect.
thing I can't handle up there is the HVAC, and that's it. And I don't the problem that's going on with the water softener is a little bit beyond my knowledge of water softeners, and so
That's, yeah, we know you can't. A lot of that stuff is
Yeah.
bigger projects.
yeah. But the HVAC is the only thing that I can't handle. Electrical is all not a big deal. Been doing that for many years, so plumbing stuff is easy. Just the snaking we didn't have one because all of that stuff went away with Greg. So
Okay. And
I don't have anything else. I'll do it.
I guess I would also like to know, is Kristen still working there?
at this point, yes.
Okay.
So she was as of this morning. I just talked to her before I came up here.
Okay.
So
We had just been wondering about that. I think that's it. Thank you.
Yeah,
for
thanks
all
for
the
coming
information.
up and briefing us on this stuff. We appreciate it.
yep, and I'll give this to them.
And if
so.
you have any more information on the roof or what they've decided, if you could brief us or me or somebody so we know what's going on.
Yeah,
about all that.
I'll holler at somebody as soon as I get the information later this week.
You can, if you don't want to come to the board, you're welcome to, but but you could just brief me and I could inform.
Yeah, I can just
Aljo
give you a
or-
call.
That'd be
And,
fine, or
they'll
any
take
of us,
care
I
of it,
guess.
so. But, I should have an estimate, hopefully by the end of this week, as to what they're looking at as far as that mixer's concerned, whether or not he can fix it or not.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
That'd be great.
it would be
So
great
not have to buy
if we
a new
can
one.
get it fixed and not have to buy a new one, cause those
Yes.
things are blooming expensive.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
Thank you for all the information.
Yep,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Okay.
Kerry.
Yes, please. If you're ready.
Okay, got one for everybody. I'm just here to get a resolution for the new tire prices. The first column, the current, is what we get now. The middle one is their new one,
Who's there?
resource management. That's who have pick up our tires.
Oh,
And the right side is what I just came up with to,
okay, our markup
yeah,
for handling them.
yeah.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah, they went
What-
up quite a
wow,
bit.
yes.
What do they do with all those tires, do you know?
Do they
I have
have
no
a shredder?
idea.
Okay.
I think they take the,
I just wondered.
I think they take the sidewalls off probably and use them for tracks
They were,
and playgrounds and
yeah, some stuff like that.
'cause
Some
most
places used to chop them up and put them in roads, didn't they have
I
to?
don't know.
Oh, okay.
Well, might actually be a good idea.
I've seen them do that some places.
Okay, so basically you're just suggesting a handling fee of $1 to $2,
Yeah.
and that's all per tire?
Mhm.
Is that what the, okay.
So if you got a big old tractor tire there, it's gonna
Did we
cost
do
you.
this?
Yeah.
I thought we redid this. This says 2014, but I thought we redid this since I've been here.
Yeah.
In the last, I think we did that.
It's been a while.
Okay. Okay, well, I would entertain a motion to increase the prices according to what the increase has been from the company. And then our handling fee, which only seems to be $1 or $2 on most cases.
I'll second.
Okay, I move to approve resolution, oh, no. Can we just update it, or do we need to make a new resolution?
I'll update it.
Okay.
I think we actually have updated it.
Yeah, there's,
Oh, you have a new
you
one?
want this?
Yeah,
May I have
yeah,
that?
can do
I'm sorry. Let me start over. Okay, I move to approve resolution 2019, number 9.
I'll second.
And in the discussion, I will just highlight, car tires are $3.50. Heavy tires, depending on the size, in increasing increments, $9, $36, $72, $152. That would be like a tractor, large tractor tire. And miscellaneous, super single or pivot sprinkler, $17. And an additional $10 amount to the price of tire disposal for tires with rims. Any further discussion? If not, those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. And none opposed. I'll give this one back to you. Any further updates from your department?
Nope. I'm having them, I gave them a list
Is
of
that yours?
No, I think that was here.
Oh, okay.
things up for the backhoe to give me pricing on to get repaired.
Okay.
So I'll probably have that in a week or two. They gotta get all the parts priced out.
Okay.
You were gonna deal with that place in Nebraska, right?
Well, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. There's a lot more. I had tests done on the fluids, and there's a lot more wrong with it than what we thought, so.
Who did the testing?
Oh, I think that place up in Nebraska.
You sent like
Send in samples?
fluids, oil, and
Fluids,
hydraulic fluid and all that stuff.
Yeah, we couldn't get a hydraulic. It was too hard, it wouldn't bend, they couldn't get their tube to bend to get down there and get a sample, so.
Okay.
Anyway, I can probably get something in a couple of weeks rounded up on what it would
Who
cost.
drew the fluids on it? The shop?
Yeah, here.
Okay. Isn't it leaking hydraulic fluid? Wasn't that part of the problem?
A little bit. It's, for some reason it was leaking pretty bad probably a month ago, and that's all kinda,
The seals,
Down
the
by the
seals in there.
wayside.
When it's cold,
When
those they
when
won't
it's
seat
cold,
and then they'll leak. When it gets warmer, they'll expand.
when it's
And
cold.
then
I'm
they'll-
just
then
wondering
they
how
won't
they
leak.
couldn't get a hydraulic sample is what I'm
I
wondering.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about, you can just drain some out the bottom. Whatever.
The O-rings get hard in the wintertime, they
Yeah.
don't, they don't
You'll have
expand.
leaks.
They're not soft. So it doesn't hardly leak at all right now.
So in that circumstance, do you take the machine to the shop or does the shop come to you?
They came to us to get the fluids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they came out there.
Do they service it in Lincoln? Or you guys service it out there yourselves?
Yeah, we've been servicing it out there, greasing it and
Yeah,
oil,
changing oil.
change.
Yeah.
Do you have a maintenance program on paper for that
They,
machinery?
they've got a log that they've had since,
A log for when they do it, but is
Right.
there a maintenance program as far as a, do you know what I mean by that? Like ahead of time, like, okay.
they kinda go by time frame
Okay.
or hours.
Right.
Hours probably, yeah, somebody hours change oil, whatever. Air filter, maybe hydraulic filter, fuel filter, so.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll get back to you on that and I guess we'll go from there.
Is Saturday one of the busiest days out there? Would there be cause to shorten one of the other days of the week and make a full Saturday? Out of curiosity.
It's full right now.
In the summer?
Mhm.
Is it busy in the winter too?
No.
Okay,
it-
it's more in the summer.
It tapers off real good in the winter, well, in the summertime too, after 1. It's next to nothing until.
Okay. Well, they know. I mean, everybody
Yeah,
kind of knows.
Everybody usually tries to get out there by 1.
Okay.
But-
Okay.
But the time's changed on the sign out there, so it's 4 for now. Till, the fall.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't.
Are you preparing the budget this year?
I can,
I'm kind of wondering where we are with
well,
the process of your job as department head.
I just wondered if that's my responsibility or the Director of Public Works. I don't know. I've done it in the past. It's not a big deal.
Well, since you do the job and know what's going on,
Right.
I think it'd be best, in my opinion, to have you do it.
Okay.
Now, I'm not against nothing against Michael here, it's just,
I'll keep-
you
I'll
know,
keep doing it.
I don't know what Al Joe's opinion is, but that's my opinion.
Okey dokey.
Proceed then. Thank you.
That's it. Have a good day.
Hey, you too. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming.
It looks like someone, oh, she's ready, okay. Yeah, we're ready for you.
Okay.
Please. We're actually on time, amazingly.
Even ahead of time.
Yeah, a few minutes.
Well, there's 2 things that I guess I would like to inform you about and ask for your participation or consideration. Not sure what the right word is, but so the first thing is regarding strategic doing and a committee that's been working for the last year and a half on what we're calling a healthy living master plan. So a little bit of background. The Post-Rock Community Foundation, with the support of the Dane Hansen Foundation, they have started doing the strategic doing process. The idea is how do we help, from Dane Hansen's perspective, how do we help all the communities and counties within Northwest Kansas really start to take on some bigger picture projects that are really going to kind of move us forward. You know, what are the things that people really feel like we need to do to improve quality of life, economy, community, all that good stuff. So that was about a year and a half ago when that started, and out of that first big meeting, a group really focused on a lot of discussion about walking trails, park improvements, splash pads. I mean, a lot of these amenities, I guess you could say, that revolve around a healthier lifestyle, living opportunities here locally. So in the past, all those projects have been discussed, but none of them have really moved forward. And as this committee started thinking about it, we felt like the reason that none of them had moved forward is because we had the idea, there was the passion there, but in terms of actually turning an idea into a reality, there seemed to be a struggle there. There was a lack of, you know, what's an actual cost estimate for this stuff? You know, having an engineer's eye look at these things and say, okay, here's your site considerations, that as us who are just typical volunteers, you know, we just don't have the know-how to figure out. So with that, the committee decided, well, we really need to hire an engineering firm to help us put together a basic plan for each of these priority projects. And there were a lot of projects that we wanted to focus on, but when we started looking at the budget and everything, we were like, well, let's whittle it down to the key ones that seem to always be top of mind to a lot of people. So economic development has served through as a pass-through, and I guess you could say a support entity for this county-wide group of folks. And so with that, this committee applied for funding from the Post Rock Community Foundation and the Dane Hansen Foundation, and we were able to get about $23,000 to hire Schwab Eaton out of Beloit to help us, like, here's the ideas, help us figure out the technical aspects of it and the cost estimates to turn the idea into reality. How do we get over this hurdle? So for the past 6 to 9 months, the committee's been working with Schwab Eaton, and this is the final master plan report. I guess the reason that I want to specifically talk to you is on Tuesday, April 30th, there's going to be a public presentation of this master plan.
Where at?
Vesper, at 7 o'clock that evening. And I would really like all local governments, council members, commissioners, anybody who can come, community-wide members to come and hear the presentation. It's a Tuesday.
Meeting in Manhattan.
That's
Or Junction City.
yeah.
Is that
That's
date?
that
I think
commissioner.
that's that Tuesday, Wednesday, isn't it? The 30th?
I think you guys go down on Wednesday, don't you?
31st. I didn't write it on this
Well,
calendar yet.
We may have a commissioner conference thing
Okay,
into Junction City
Well, only
that
two of us
day.
are going. Maybe Aljo could come to the Vesper Center.
okay,
But yeah, but like she said, I don't know if it's 30th or the next day.
We'll figure it out.
okay. Well, at any rate, I just
Sure.
want you to know that this is going on.
What's is there an estimated cost of the project in here?
Well, there's a whole lot. I mean,
Each
every
project is
project has
individually
its
cost,
own
correct.
cost estimate. And I will be totally honest. I mean, there's a lot of money that's being discussed here, a lot of it. And our
So
committee knows
basically
that.
they want some input on prioritization. Is that?
Well, the idea is to, first of all, present all these projects. Just kind of say, here's what this committee has been working on. But then also from Schwab Eaton's perspective, you know, they've worked with a lot of different communities on doing these very things. And how do you apply for those grant funds? How do you get yourself in a really good position to do this? And I actually feel like this master plan document, from talking to Schwab Eaton, it gets us in a really good position to start whittling away at these things. You know, there's a lot of money here. But there's a lot of grant funding out there that can help with this. So the idea is, instead of having Schwab Eaton come to every single city council member and come here and do the same presentation 5 different times, can we get everybody all together in one room as a county talking about some big projects and figuring out, you know, letting people ask them questions, because there's kind of some technical aspects here that, you know, I'm just not the best at. You know, I would hope I can help every community move forward with it, but, you know, we need to kind of have the local support as well. So after the April 30th meeting, the next step that needs to happen is that each council, and I would hope the county commission as well, adopt this master plan. The reason for that is because if we are to apply for any grants for any of these projects, being able to say that this is an adopted master plan that was put together through a wide cross-section of communities and volunteers, it just makes it look that much better. So that is something that will be coming to you after this April meeting. I'm hoping in May. So I want you guys to know what's in here, so that you kind of understand. And then there's also a few projects where there might need to be some collaboration with the county on it. Most of these things are dealing directly, especially Sylvan and Lincoln, but in some cases there might need to be some collaboration with the county. And the biggest one on that, just to kind of, again, this is mostly as an FYI, but one of the projects is developing a park at the Saline River Dam here just south of town that's outside of city limits. It's currently, the property is in private hands, but the owner is willing to donate that property to an entity in order to turn that into a true public park. And I think it could be a beautiful...
Right by the river there, the old mill.
Yeah, around the dam.
Now, wouldn't we almost have to do Park and Recs, state involvement in that, or the Corps of Engineers, since it modify or by anything
well,
to do with the river,
that's
river there's their
yes.
their valley.
Yes, yes, and there's going to be a lot of collaboration
Coordination
that's needed,
and stuff,
but you know, they kind of outline what those things are, and I guess that's just kind of one thing where, so if we donate the property to a public entity, what entity is that, and then how do we move forward with the plan? I'm really excited about this one. I think it could be an amazing opportunity. I don't think you get really many opportunities in western Kansas for a waterfront park. That could really be a standout feature, but again, you know, there's going to need to be some collaboration here. So that's another thing that I guess I just wanted to kind of put a bug in your ear on and
would it just be on
thinking about
north side of the river?
Actually, in here, they're mostly talking about the south side of the river.
South side.
Yeah. The north side of the river, the reason that we've steered away from that, at least at this point, in kind of the initial development of the park, is it's such a steep embankment there that they kind of felt like it's probably not a good idea to encourage people to go walking down that. You're kind of creating a liability hazard. Yeah. Whereas the other side, it's a lot flatter and open, but you can create, you know, a couple campsites there, a little fishing pier, and so forth.
Cities, yeah.
Also, on the north side, back in our day, in the 50s and 60s, there were caves back in there where there were Native American artifacts found. So.
Yeah, from what I've been told, they're a little bit further beyond just this small area for the park, but yeah, there's
be under that.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff around there. Yeah,
Both sides.
yeah. So anyway, I guess again, I invite you to the April 30th presentation.
April 30th, what time would it be?
7:00 p.m.
7
So
p.m.
I don't,
at Vesper.
in Vesper.
I'll try to make it if I'm not going to that conference.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you
Lot
never
of stuff
pick a good
going
day.
Yeah, right,
For
there's something
everybody.
going on all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Kelly, thanks.
The next thing that I guess I wanted to let you know about is a project that Economic Development is working on, and we're calling it a countywide real estate open house. Nope, actually, those are two. Yeah, I'm gonna give.
Oh,
you-
2 each,
yeah.
okay. Well, that's what you've already asked the Art Center about that, didn't you, about
Yes,
using
yeah.
that facility, yeah.
Yeah. So, a couple things with the day. The first part, again, just kind of an FYI, that the idea with the countywide real estate open house is I feel like there's a lot of places that have been on the market for a very long time and have not really moved. So if we can kind of create some buzz, get everything open on a day, And hopefully then we can attract maybe some people outside of our typical area. You know, if we can get to Salina, if we can get to Junction City. We're gonna do a big marketing push on this. But the idea is anything that's on the market is open that day. 9 to noon is kind of the time period that we're looking at. But maybe, you know, we can create a little buzz. We can get some of our properties out there more so, and
Okay.
hopefully get something sold. The other piece of this day, though, is at the art center. We would like to do a welcome, kind of have a little welcome booth, welcome center. You know, if anybody's coming in wants to know about the schools or about the community or anything like that. But the other piece of this is an employer's meet and greet. I think it's really going to be critical that in order for us to get people to buy houses here, to move here, that there's some sort of connection to the job opportunities that are around. So this is kind of our way of trying to link up houses and jobs. With the employers meet and greet, I don't see this as a full-blown career fair. I see it being more like a social hour networking opportunity where people can kind of come and go at their own leisure, at their own pace, but to meet employers and to say, you know, hey, would love to move here. You know, this is kind of what my background is. What are maybe some job opportunities that are away, and kind of, you know, for me to be able to say, hey, you need to go talk to Sally over here, or Bob over here, or whoever. But another piece to this, and this is where it gets a little bit untraditional, I guess you could say, is I would like us to start promoting not necessarily the jobs that are open right now, but the jobs that are going to be open in the next year or so. The reason for that is because I think most people, they might want to move here, but it doesn't mean they can move here right now. They need to be able to plan ahead and start thinking about it. You know, they might be thinking, I would love to move here, but I need to wait till my kid, you know, I want to wait till my kid gets in school, or I want to wait till my kid graduates from school, or I need to, you know, for whatever reason, there's something in their life where it's just that, like, they can make it happen right now. But if they knew that there were job opportunities coming, so for example, if there's an employer who knows that there's a retirement coming next year, why can't we promote that now? Why can't we say
Succession planning, isn't it?
yes, succession planning, and you know, just as a totally bizarre job title, but you know, underwater basket weaver. You know, we have one of those right now, but we know our really good underwater basket weaver is retiring next year. Well, why can't we say looking for this anticipated hiring spring of 2020?
That's an excellent idea.
So that way people can start planning and thinking ahead and knowing that you know, there's opportunities that are coming. So I guess as the county being a big employer, and I know this, I don't know what the policies are, but is there a way that we can start thinking ahead about any of these jobs and participate in this meet and greet? Or if you have somebody there, somebody walks in and says, hey, you know, this is what my background is, why can't we say, okay, as the county, here's what our needs are right now, and here's what our needs are going to be in the next year future, right?
Absolutely, that's an excellent idea. I mean, I can attest to the fact personally that you don't know who you may attract.
Right.
I mean, I came from a different environment. I mean, we came out here because of agriculture. My husband was born and raised on a farm. But it's still the concept that kids getting out of high school don't even know what they're going to do. College is not the investment that it once was. And, I mean, we actually need skilled trade workers.
Yeah.
And we have local schools that even provide that. So as a continuing follow-up to their you know, it could be post-secondary.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
But you know, it could be a way for you guys to start gathering up business cards, resumes, so that if and when, you know, that position comes open,
Well, we know where we have
you've got
turnover.
some names. Yeah, so
or where we constantly need.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I guess I would just like to challenge all the employers in the county to not just be thinking about what you need right now, but what is it that you're going to need in the next year or two, and then how do we start using opportunities like this as the way to start building our network of potential new recruits, new employees. So I guess I would like you to put the employers meet and greet on your calendar. I don't know.
Yeah, when is that?
It's June 8th.
Okay.
It's the morning from 9 to noon. But if there's just a way to somehow participate in it, be a face, you know, if you've got, I'm leaving it up to the employers in terms of how, sophisticated you wanna be, you know, if you just wanna be there and just be a face, that's fine. If you actually have job descriptions that you want to be passing out, that's great too. If you actually wanna have an application where somebody can sit down and fill out an application, that's fine too. You know, if you wanna have a booth with signs, you know, it's up to everybody else. I just kinda wanna make this, especially for the first time that we organize something like this, just an opportunity, let's just feel this out and see what works, and then next year we know what to do.
Do you have a summary basically of who the larger employers are that LCDF can present as far as?
Yes, yeah, I'm kind of making my way around to people and have been talking to
I
I
people,
mean, I know
so.
we're one of them.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
US Tower.
yeah,
Looking
US
for a lot
Tower,
of people, and
yeah.
they're having trouble finding, they're wanting to expand.
Yes,
Quite a
with
bit
their
here.
expansion, I mean,
Yeah.
they're definitely aware of this, and
I hear
we're
that
gonna be
they-
working with
I
them
hear
to.
quite a few of their towers are actually going down to the border now for border
I
security.
wouldn't be
stuff.
surprised.
I've talked to people.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So,
Anyway,
anyway, I just think this, I hope that this will be a really great opportunity to, again, connect house hunters and jobs. And if we, you know, if we can get a few families moved to town, that's great. We are opening this up a little beyond our county lines. Seems silly to me to, you know, like at Wilson Lake, to have one property being able to participate this and another one not being able to, that's right across the road. I also thought about
Yeah, it
Lucas.
doesn't mean that they won't do trade and commerce here.
Yeah,
so.
it, you know, somebody who works across the county line can still take one of our jobs, you know, and Lucas, a house that sells in Lucas still helps our school system. So, we are kind of going a little beyond our borders, but.
No, I think that's definitely needed. In fact, I met a woman who was coming from Colorado through Kansas, saw the point of interest about the toilet that they did in Lucas, and came and bought a house because the real estate
Yeah.
is, you know, there and available. So
Yeah.
you never know what is going to draw people. A big fancy toilet.
Yeah. Well, hey, whatever works. So, anyway, I guess those were the two things that I just kind of wanted to go over and put a bug in your ear and see if we can get some participation, collaboration, all that good stuff on. So, you have any questions for me? I just kind of feel like I threw a lot at you here, but.
anything new, you haven't heard anything new on the courthouse, with Doug McKinney on that?
No, I have not. I don't know if there's been any official communication with the county, but I haven't heard anything. I think it's May is when their next meeting is, where they actually review applications. So I
Okay.
wouldn't expect you to hear much.
All right.
They may ask for a presentation. I don't know if you've got any letter on that. Sometimes with grant applications, they say you can come and you can present your project in front of a panel. I don't think it's required, but I don't remember what that day is or anything. But no, I haven't heard anything.
Okay, thanks.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Have a good one.
Oh, I'm sorry if we answered this. Did we discuss what we were going to do about appointing someone to be the grant administrator if and when that happens? We need to be thinking about that.
That would be.
Isn't?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we did that.
You did. Okay, you volunteered. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
No, I just want to make sure.
Jennifer, you ready?
Yep. Are you ready?
Yes,
Alexis, you ready?
please. Thank you. Sorry, I was just
I
trying to get
have
my
a-
paperwork up in front of me.
I have a couple other things too, and I know that I had received an email about some other stuff we may need to talk about in executive session, so I didn't know if we wanted to just kind of nail that out first. I have my employee evaluation that I'd like to just discuss with you guys very briefly. Katie Good was at her 50-cent raise April 1st. And I would like to talk about council on aging stuff, and I believe I may like an executive session on nursing home stuff for just a brief, so hopefully we can get that done.
Want to do that right
However
now?
you want to do it.
Let's start with council on aging. 'Cause
Okay.
I was just pulling up their bylaws
We can do
and
that.
some things here that, and then we'll go into executive
Okay.
session because we have two separate ones, right? You need One for evaluation and another one for the attorney-client privilege?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And what I'm hoping is with the Council on Aging that you guys have discussed this enough that you kind of have some
I have some
agreement.
questions. I have some
Not
questions.
agreement, give it to me and then I can put some stuff together. Okay.
I think the first question is, what is our legal situation with not actually having the original document in hand for the resolution for the mill levy?
Okay.
The original one. I mean, I know that we have since been able to find the additional increments that were increased,
Okay.
but I believe it was 1 and then a half and then another half.
Mills,
Yes.
2 total.
2 total, which we haven't been taxing for 2 total, but the increases are based on the first one, and the first one is not necessarily in hand.
And I don't believe anybody's been able to find the original mill levy. Okay.
Which I think was probably by state statute.
Okay.
But that when they repealed the rule, they repealed all those statutes, so I don't
Right.
see those new statutes.
Okay.
Okay, my next question is, I have the bylaws here from the Council on Aging that are dated February 26, 2019, and as far as I'm aware, that's the most recent update.
Okay.
Now, the change that I'm asking about, I don't know anything else about the document, but the change that I'm asking about is the membership. What they did was they broke it down into the commission districts. So they want, basically it says this, there should be 7 county council members with at least 70% of the membership being 60 years and older. 2 representatives shall be appointed from each of these 3 districts within Lincoln County. District 1, 2, and 3, which are the districts for the commissioners. 1 representative at large. So they changed the membership from 10 people, I believe, to 7, and they're doing it by commissioner district. And then it says openings will be advertised, yada yada, and the board will vote on people interested in the position. And then they will present the new members to the commission. So this is different. In the past, the commission has appointed the board. So now that they are appointing their own board, are they or are they not subject to Coma and Cora? Because it's my understanding that that exempts them, that particular action exempts them from open records and open meetings.
I'm not sure that does, but I can find that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I would like to know that.
Okay.
Because I think that plays a big part in our role in being the funding source. You know, if they're not going to be able to, if no one is going to be able to access their records or attend their meetings at will, then I don't know that the county should be funding.
I absolutely understand what you're saying.
Okay. The other question I had is, in your, role as county attorney, have you ever been a part of the commission creating any sort of regulations as far as giving out that mill levy money for seniors? Because the only regulations I've ever seen were produced by the LCCA, but they themselves are a recipient of the money, and I don't think the board has ever created their own set of regulations. You know, you must be a nonprofit, you must be within the county, you must yada.
Right.
That may be up to us to initiate and
Right.
install a set of regulations that we deem necessary in order to give out that money. So I think that's where we need your advice too.
And to your answer, no, I have not been involved in putting forth any regulations. I think in the past there has been reference to a letter that Mr. Kringle had prepared. I don't know if he was county attorney at that time or whether they sought him out separate and apart, but I don't think it was a board action for that. But that was kind of based on population, breaking it down, and I recall seeing that a very long time ago. I think that is the only piece of information that I've seen from a county attorney or a person who was county attorney in relation to this issue.
Yes, I agree.
As long as I've been doing it. So, but I don't think that this board can't make regulations and think about what this mill levy is going to do and where it needs to go.
Would that be in the form of a resolution, that we adopt a resolution that lists the credentials that you must have as an entity in order to receive that money.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I'm thinking, you know, even the web fund has a specific set of rules or regulations
Mm-hmm.
by which you must abide in order to be eligible.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm sitting on that board, it was, you know, clear to me that they basically said we're not going to do any considerations for religious funding, because then, you know, you get
Mhm.
into that whole state religion crossover thing. So maybe that's a consideration too. You know, are we going to fund senior activities regardless of whether they're held in a building that, do you see where I'm going
Yeah.
with that? If it's going to be held in a church, or, and it has nothing to do with my personal viewpoint on it, it's just my, what are our obligations as a public body to disperse public funds,
Okay.
is where I'm going with that. And the resolution, the original, since we don't really have it, you know, I'm wondering, do we need to define the word services? Are
Okay.
we giving money to, I know that the commission has been funding overhead costs for buildings, and even allowing the LCCA to fund, I mean, ultimately allowing, because they gave 100% of the money to that organization, but allowing them to even fund improvements and purchases for windows and hand railings, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I don't know how much of that is defined in services for the elderly or not. You know,
Okay.
are we going to amend any of those? Can we? We probably can't, because it was voted on, correct? So if it was written as a resolution that the public voted on, the actual wording, that's how it stays. Am I right?
Right, but I think there's been some issues with the interpretation of that language also amongst everyone that we probably need to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Just because at the end of the day, I mean, this commission needs to have a firm footing on what they believe it is.
Right. And I think it's timely that we do this now. I mean, we've withheld the first disbursement of that collection.
Okay.
And, and my other question was from someone else, what is the process by which that is rescinded? So, for example, we've gone 3 years now using 75,000, which is only maybe 1.5 instead of the full 2.
Right.
It's almost reduced by 0.5 mil. So is there a process by which you can rescind that additional money, you know, from the most recent backward?
Okay.
How does that happen with the public voted? Do you know?
I think it has to be a vote again.
You have to just put it back to a public vote.
Or you just don't use it like you've been doing it.
Right. We have, the way it's worded is up
Mhm.
to, so we have the
Yeah.
ability to not.
So the commission has a control over it.
I just don't like the idea of, I mean, I'm not sure how many at this point, how many publicly voted funds we have control over in that capacity. I think the last time Dawn looked up, we also have that determination over the hospital funding. I think the last mill levy on the hospital was an additional 4 mills in it, but it was up to 4. So really we're giving 10, the first 6 were voted on, and now the additional 4 is up to 4. So really, we, at any point in time, could be or could not be taxing that entire 4 mills for the year. So I don't know how many of those.
I'm not sure you have a choice with that one when the hospital board of trustees did that one.
What do you mean?
There was an actual agency that was doing it. I don't,
That was
so that's
collecting
like,
the
it's almost
tax?
like economic development. You're levying 2 mills for economic development, but it was run specifically for economic development, so that foundation makes that decision as to whether or not they need it. That.
But if the
hospital board-
resolution says that the county commission shall collect it, then we are the taxing entity.
I don't think you have the ability to change that. You'll have to look at some attorney general's opinions, but I don't think you have the ability to change that.
I can pull those.
Well, and it all depends on that up to.
Okay.
So you kind of know where I'm going with that line of questioning. Do you have anything else?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm not very well up on the.
Aljo, did you have any?
Well, I just, going back to that, it was the hospital board that initiated those mills. And it said that the hospital board could ask for up to 10 mills from the county. In the past, the county hospital board has told us how much of those mills they want. At one time, they only wanted, it was a little less than 10 mills. when we got into some financial trouble, they decided they wanted the full 10 mills. That's the way that, and I don't think the commission, I would agree with Don, that the commission has any right to lower that mill levy. I think that is all contingent on what the hospital board asks for.
So, while we're on that subject, and since Jennifer's here, it's my understanding that by law, the hospital board should be presenting their budget to us yearly. And I've never seen one.
I don't know.
Do you know anything about that?
I don't, I've never.
I was kind of looking at Jennifer, but you're saying you don't either.
No.
Yeah.
So if there's some law, I don't know where it's at or what it is, somebody can bring.
I don't recall being
Don,
presented
the only
with
thing
it.
that I could see that it would come under is the way that the watershed districts, aren't they required to file, they're required to file expenses, I know. Are they required to file their budget too?
Well, they are for me to be able to tax, but the hospital is part of the county general fund,
Yeah,
so I don't know.
yeah, but I do know the watersheds have to provide county clerk.
Well, I think it has something to do with the fact that the hospital is owned by us. I mean, if it was
We
an
don't have-
independently acting.
Some counties have hospital districts in which they get tax dollars by the district. We don't have a hospital district. So that might be the law that they're looking at. I don't know. But there are counties that actually have districts, and there's also counties that actually have people elected through the electoral process
To
their
get on the
boards.
board.
But that I don't believe is how our hospital is set up, so I don't know. But they do provide to me how much they would like to levy, either by dollar amount or by levy. So I normally send them a letter that says, this is what you levied last year, this is what the dollar amount generated is, this is what the new dollar amount is estimated to be generated at. Do you want the dollar amount or do you want the levy? And in the years, some of the years they had just done the dollar amount, so they were.
Which might not quite be the full 10, yeah.
And then if for any reason their value changes at the end of, so when we set our budget, that's what they get. If their value changes up or down, they don't get the additional money, they get whatever it is that we budgeted in our budget.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I think
Okay,
that sums
I can
up.
get all that together.
Yeah, I think that's where we need to begin with re-educating ourselves on the dispersing of that amount of money.
I don't know about you, but this council on the aging thing is the most confusing thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I'm serious, it's just,
Well, what I
the way
found-
this whole thing operates is just one big confusing thing to me. Whatever, I know I'm new and don't know much, but
Well, it's
we've
confusing.
talked about this over and over again, I still don't know anything about
Well,
it.
no, it's Lincoln County has a situation that is unique. I've not come across it in talking to any of the other counties or asking any questions from any other senior centers. There are other councils on aging. They do have part-time things, but like employees, but they're also in conjunction with other. They have other faculties because, for example, in Ellsworth, they have a part-time woman, but she does all the transportation bus logistics. So yes, she answers questions, does SHIC counseling, and takes phone calls for the Council on Aging, but her role in her hourly wage is also to do the logistics for scheduling the bus. So we are the only people that have a council that has formed, and then they meet once a month, and then they act as an employer. And that, I voiced that concern 2 meetings ago. They just had another meeting, but 2 meetings ago I voiced a concern that they are an employer, because if they're volunteering to be on the board and they're not doing anything besides getting together and then signing a paycheck for someone, I'm not sure then why we don't have that person be a county employee, because we're paying 100% of all that. And there's an interesting crossover. See, we have a bus board, but because the bus board was basically handing bills to the county, and the county was paying them and doing the act of the secretarial work, then we were told by the auditors that we better have that bus driver be an employee of the county.
And we were sponsoring their grants, and we were handling all of their money. And it wasn't our auditors, it was a federal audit that came in on the federal transportation.
Okay.
So basically like Fair Labor and Standards,
Okay.
it was the federal organization that said, you can't be responsible for everything and do everything and then say they're not your employee. Council on Aging, we don't do any of that here.
But what I'm saying is they're a unique organization. I've already said that. They're the only organization I know of that has no external funding. They get all their money from 3 people, and then they hire people to do stuff. I've never even heard of this in my life. I mean, this of course is my most in-depth experience with it, but we don't have any other organizations that are requesting funding. You know, even OCCK comes in, and Central Kansas Mental Health, and then we just had the visit with Flint Hills Area Agency on Aging. They have all kinds of other sources of funding.
Yeah.
And yes, they might be publicly funded, but it's from a variety of resources. Here we are in our own county giving money to an organization who then acts as an employer. I mean, we may as well consider them a business, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me that they're not a department where we pay your department as county attorney and then you hire someone. That's kind of different. You know, they're not a department, they're just a group, a volunteer group. So that's why I advocate that we come up with a set of regulations.
Well, I was almost thinking the way we have it now, like with Becky's in there, instead of you give the money to Council on Aging, then they pay, like, why don't we could almost just pay for that position for them, and the, like the senior center, we fund that too. Why do we even have to do that middleman, go through Council on Aging, then they do, why don't we just give it to, who not necessarily, Becky may always not be there, but anybody.
But that's who's there now, right?
Yeah, that's who they're now.
Right.
And I don't know if the next person would have both jobs, the Council on Aging over that and
But ultimately,
the
that
senior
leaves it to
center.
the senior
But,
center, yeah.
but yeah, we could fund that all and then just take that out of their hands. We can still have the Council on the Aging people volunteer and still be involved in policy and so forth and so on, not just be involved with the money. That's the way I would look at it. I mean, why?
Well, see, other councils on aging in other counties, they go and do field trips. You know, they might go to a senior center, or they might go and attend a coffee, even a legislative coffee. They'll send some of their representatives.
Then they want
So then
some
they
money.
talk about Medicare, they talk about all the things that affect a senior citizen. Then they come back and they have their meeting and they say, oh, well, let's print up a flyer and advertise it. And, you know, Julie, who was here for Flint Hills, kind of gave some good examples of what they do. And so they are really hoping that those Council on Aging spread their information out throughout the county. And what Lincoln County has been doing has been paying to provide those services in-house when Flint Hills will come here and do it. We're actually only giving a couple $1,000s to Flint Hills, because did you hear her say it was based on participation? It was an $800 base fee, and then the rest of it was based on participation. So really, the more participation we have, the more we could be funding them, and they provide a multitude of services.
Yeah. Whatever, again, it's confusing with all this, but whatever, I think you're.
Okay, I'll put that all together.
Yeah, I would like the answers to the legal questions,
Okay.
because I think we need to know what we're doing with the money and why.
Okay,
And
I can do that.
Agency on Aging in Manhattan pays for the friendship meal site manager.
Oh, she's saying that Becky's paycheck for the meals comes from Manhattan.
Yeah, right, I knew that.
But she
I
does
knew
get
Flint Hills paid
additional-
for the food, for the senior center, right,
Well, no, but they pay for the employees too, 2 of them.
2 of them.
They pay minimum wage,
Okay.
and then the money that we give to the senior center writes them an additional check,
Well, it
the
gives
way I
us
understand
Some
it,
extra money.
that supplements that minimum wage.
To manage the place, or
Uh-huh.
whatever, okay. Yeah, I know Flint Hills funded part of that, yeah. Okay,
Okay. Do you want to go into executive session on the nursing
Yeah.
home?
yeah, well, we'll fund whatever you want to do.
Yes, so I only need 5 minutes, it's just a few questions.
That's fine.
But, I think you can answer, I don't really think we need Mr. Hay, so I will make the motion. I move to enter into executive session for 5 minutes for the purpose of discussing, Lincoln Park Manor financials. pursuant to KSA 754319-2B. And I will, put it under number 2 for consultation with an attorney for our public body to reconvene in the basement meeting room of the courthouse with commission and the county attorney.
I think.
It's been moved and seconded for the executive session. Any further discussion? If not, those in favor vote aye. Aye. And none opposed.
Due to her 6 months and evaluation.
And it's effective, the next pay period, so it'd be effective
April 1st.
26th.
April 26th.
That's the next pay period. Yeah.
I'll second.
But wasn't it supposed to be instituted on the 1st of April?
But that's not
All pay raises
It's
are done the
following
following
pay.
pay period.
pay period. There was a pay period March the 26th. Now there's a, so she didn't qualify because she wasn't here before March 26th.
April 1.
So she came on April 1.
So it'll hit the next.
When the paycheck is issued in after April, she'll get her money.
I know, but if you use the word effective, wouldn't it be effective from the date?
No,
It's
we can
effective.
split payroll, we pay, it won't be effective until the beginning of the following pay period.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Did you second?
Yeah, I seconded it.
It has been moved and seconded for the 50-cent increase for Katie Good, following her evaluation and 6 months of employment to the county. Is there any further discussion?
The 50 cent was for her 6 month. I don't know what you guys are
I'm
doing.
sorry.
We
with this.
haven't done that.
Okay.
It's not, that
yeah.
is not the merit, it is not
Okay.
associated
It's just
with
the
the
50.
merit,
Okay.
right?
I apologize.
No, thanks for the clarification. The 50 cents is based on the 6 months of employment, and I'm just verifying, as he said, because the evaluation was satisfactory, that it will begin next pay period. And all those in favor, vote aye.
Right.
Aye. None opposed. And I move, if you're ready, Dawn,
Yes.
to file a civil complaint.
Oh.
Yeah, it's to you.
I apologize.
Against John Grace with Lincoln Park Manor for all rent owed to Lincoln County. That's all rent, whatever that, I don't have the number.
Rent due and owing.
Yes, please. Current, up to current. Okay, motion dies for lack of second.
The only reason I didn't second because.
Well, I didn't think you were done.
Do you want me to remake the motion?
Well, I have a statement that, I've been in some discussions with him yet on things about possible, like I said before, possible changing the, lease agreement or having a new one, and because of that, I would wanna hold off. Now, that's my opinion on that. Not that I don't think.
That's fine.
Well, no, and I agree where your position is, Alexis, because he does owe bills and I know where you're coming from.
Joe, do you have a statement? Would you like me to remake the motion?
I don't.
You're not gonna support it?
I will side with Larry if Randy if he's
Okay.
talked to him.
I think that concludes our information we need to give and get from you. So,
Thank you.
Do you have any idea, I'm sorry to put this on you, but a time frame to get back with the mill levy issue? Only because we're coming up on the middle of the year and
Right.
And so when is
A
the
couple
second
weeks, if
disbursement?
depending on whether or
Like
not
in May? Can we
whether.
do that
Oh
in
yeah,
May?
oh yeah.
Okay.
I just know that I can't confirm next Monday just because
That's
I'll
fine.
have that.
And
so.
we have some other things coming up with some interviews, so I
Okay.
guess I'm just hoping that we can get that
Okay.
done before the turn of the half year
Got it.
mark where we would give our second disbursement out or anything like that.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
Thank
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your time, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Would everyone be okay with a 5-minute recess?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you okay with
That's
it?
why I shouldn't have
Right.
done
And we mainly there for rehab or somebody gets hurt in the
it.
fall.
I asked Gal Joe earlier, we were talking about the rescue squad. Are you involved with them?
Nope.
No,
We're
that would
totally
be
separate.
fire, that's fire department stuff, right? Okay. That's all volunteer, huh?
Okay, back in session then.
Okay.
Brandon, you ready?
Yeah, I would like to ask for an executive session with the commissioners only, please.
Okay, you'll have to tell us the subject matter.
To speak about the turmoil in EMS right now and speak specifically about some of the employees. And I'd like to mention some names, and I would like to keep that confidential.
You wanna do it?
Yeah, I guess the subject, I don't know what you wanna say for the subject. You can make the motion.
Well, I was just curious about what
It has to be a specific issue. If we're gonna say just turmoil in the department, that's not gonna do it. So it would have to be, an employee issue, and it's typically a disciplinary issue.
I really don't have a disciplinary issue. My concerns for the EMS service and its survival.
Well, then I would say that's not executive session. If it was one person that you needed to talk, so we have to do it under justification of personnel matters of non-elected personnel, which would mean that you're bringing to us an issue about your personnel.
This would be a personnel matter. Because my fear is that we're gonna lose a whole bunch of personnel.
Okay, but that's just a general statement. So if you're saying that someone's leaving because of a health matter, or someone's leaving because of, that would be a justification or a subject matter for the justification of personnel, but
We can
if,
do this in public.
well, I'm just saying, we, as a board, can't enter into executive session if we know that it's just for a general statement about
I
what
understand.
your concerns are for the
I understand.
group, for the group.
So, and I'm not aware if you're aware, Mr. Wallace, if you watch these Facebook posts that go on. You do not, okay. I know, Randy, I know you have Facebook. I don't know
Yeah,
if you.
I've seen some of them,
Okay.
yeah.
There's been some posts out there about the previous director not bringing on people that were willing to volunteer in the past, and not keeping on some people that were willing to volunteer. I'm going to be specific about this. There was one individual from your district, Mr. Wallace, that had wanted to volunteer. He was a certified EMT, but at the time he turned in his application to us, he had no driver's license and had a history of theft. Well-known history of theft. I won't mention that name, but I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about. We had an employee that left during Brett's administration as a director with no notice and was basically listed within the department as non-rehirable. The other employee that left at the same time, right after, I'm going to try to do this without using names.
Well, if it's not our employee, it's not a protected issue, so that doesn't matter.
Okay, so Roxy left without giving notice.
I'm sorry?
It does matter if we're deplaning somebody. And we
Okay.
have no actual proof to it, so.
The other employee that left at the same time as the one that gave no notice is currently still on our roster, but works for another department, neighboring county. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this without saying stuff. So, item number 2, one of the people that was interviewed for this position, the director position, was mentioned on a Facebook post that he already worked for the department and was experienced within the department. However, I've been there 3 years. He shows up on calls occasionally. I've seen him on 4 calls in 3 years. And he does not attend staff meetings. Hasn't been to a staff meeting in 2 years.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt here because I'm the chairman and we have to direct this discussion in an appropriate manner. And what I'm gonna say is, if you're here to scrutinize the interviewees that the commission chose, then we're not gonna have this discussion.
I'm here to provide you with a state of mind of the current department and how they feel about the way this process is going.
But that's not what you've said so far. What you've said is that you think that someone that's been interviewed has or has not done these certain things, and that really is not, that's not gonna be part of the discussion. I mean, you can say that, but it's really, that's not what you preemptively said. You said you wanted to talk about the state of the department. So far, you've talked about everyone that's outside of the department.
And this is all building up to where I'm going here. Just like with the discussion I had with you the last time, it was all building up to something. So I'll drop that one. So we've got people within the department actively looking for employment elsewhere. And I'm afraid that we're going to lose the people we've got. We have a hard time getting employees there in the first place. The last couple times we've hired, it's taken months to get somebody hired to fill a spot. And I'm passionate about this county.
I'm not sure if you're saying that you're worried because you currently have employees seeking employment elsewhere, but that can be happening at any given time. So I'm not sure. I mean, I appreciate you bringing that issue to the board. So what you're saying is that the board needs to start putting out advertisements, is what you're saying?
No, ma'am. I'm saying that the board needs to treat the department with some more respect.
I'm not sure what has happened to what changes have happened in the department. I'm not sure. Could you highlight what changes have happened in the department? I know you guys were upset that I mentioned
Okay,
about...
I'll stop the rest of my discussion and I'll do this. I care about this county. Mr. Wallace, I'm speaking directly to you because I feel I need to, okay? I care about this county. I care about the citizens in it, and I want to do the best thing for them. And I don't feel like I would be doing my job if I didn't come to you one last time to try to stop this madness that's going on within the commission and the turmoil they're putting the EMS department in.
So where is this? So you're saying that, am I interpreting you right, that since I am unaware of what's going on in Facebook, you're saying that I probably don't care about the...
No, not at all, sir. That's not what I'm saying. I feel like, I feel like you need to know some things that I don't think you know.
If it has anything to do with Facebook or any of that social media, absolutely not. I do not participate in that stuff.
And I understand that.
I feel that it unfortunately has become an avenue of negativity.
I agree.
And I do not want any part of that in my life.
Right. But as a commissioner within the county...
And I appreciate you bringing it to my attention, yes.
I feel
but I'm not sure what I can do about that. I cannot control.
You're right.
And everybody has found that out, that nobody can control that.
Yeah.
And that is a national problem, not only a local problem. It is a national problem that our government is facing that we cannot seem to get our hands around.
Can I give you the handbook here and refer you down? Is it all right if I step over?
Sure.
Okay. And I'm speaking specifically about this section here in the handbook. I know I've heard the highway department manager mention that he felt like he was being harassed. I personally feel like some things have been said in that manner on public media sites that were not proper. I was flat out told by one of this commission on Saturday that if I was to get an interview, it would be a pity interview during a Facebook conversation off of an innocent post. It was a national post about EMS nationally. It wasn't specific to Lincoln County by any means. And I was basically told if I was to get an interview at this point, it would be a pity interview.
That's not what it said at all, but if you're trying to come to the table to complain about me, that's fine, but I'm an elected official. So it really has nothing to do with the handbook. And I'm sorry that you feel slighted by my comments of truth, but what the actual sentence was is, if the suggestion is to give an interview. I never said anything directly to you as what you're trying to portray right now. I understand that you're upset. You've made it quite clear that you want the director position.
I wouldn't take the director's spot for anything right at this point. I wouldn't.
So then,
I'm withdrawing my application.
Okay. Did you tell Dawn that you've withdrawn your application?
I have not. I will do.
Okay.
Dawn, I'm withdrawing my application.
Okay, so I'll just make a note.
And Mr. Wallace, I do not mean any offense towards you by any means. I hope you don't take that.
I am not offended. I am not offended.
Okay.
I'm very much aware that we are beginning to have problems hiring people due to that social media. It has been brought to my attention. And I will tell you right now, I don't know what to do about it. But it needs to stop. It is not a good reflection on this county, and it is driving people away that do want to come to this county to work.
Right.
And we need to get our hands around it some way. I guess I would just read to you what he pointed out to me, is that social media used either at or away from work should never be used in a way that violates any county policy or employee's obligation. If a social media posting would violate any county policy in another form, it would also violate it in an online or other electronic forum. For example, employees are prohibited from using social media to, and this is the one that Brandon pointed out to me, to violate the county's policies, including, but not limited to, those addressing personal conduct, productive work environment, anti-harassment, equal employment opportunity, workplace violence and weapons, confidentiality, and solicitation.
Yes, sir. So I guess the final thing I would like to say is I don't think elected officials are above these policies, and I know they're not above state policies and state rules. And I would like to ask that you as a board put Commissioner number 3 on suspension through the state of Kansas due to her actions on Facebook. There's got to be a way to do it. The Attorney General's office has got to have a way to control elected officials also. So that's my question. I ask that you please look into that for those purposes.
For what violation?
For violation of the social media policy and anti-harassment.
Did you bring them something that I said?
I've got everything saved. If you would like to see that, I'd be more than happy to show you that.
Okay, and I'll just inform you, an elected official cannot be held to any rules or regulations created by another person or even in the board unless the board does an action that is restraining the board. I, as an individual, I'm allowed to say what I think or what I've witnessed. I'm allowed to put it in writing. You can't curb that. That's actually a First Amendment right also in the Constitution. I understand that you're upset, but my question with the whole scenario is, if your original frustration with this situation is that you didn't get an interview, I'm not sure why you're saying that that's my fault.
I don't know how to explain it to you.
That's what you posted on Facebook. That's what you posted on Facebook, not me. I never posted anything about you. I have responded to things. I have responded to you. I have responded to other people. But you're the one that put an actual post.
I'll just deal with the Attorney General's office myself. Thank you for your time.
Okay. So I'll just say in the public session that there was a Facebook post that that Mr. Now I'm losing my Cochran or Cohran, how do you say that?
Cochran.
That Cochran had expressed his discontent with not getting an interview because he had been informed that we had started our interview process. I had responded by saying a few things about how I was assuring that we were interviewing people that had been chosen as top candidates, and that's still the process that we're in. I'm not sure why, again, I'll say it to you because you're here, I'm not sure why you think that that's me as a person choosing candidates and excluding you. Our board chose the candidates for interviewing, and I understand, I mean, you're showing lots of physical signs of distress about this. I apologize that you're offended, however, that wasn't the intention. The board doesn't make a decision for candidates based on anything other than what was presented to us, and we used the resumes and the applications presented to us to choose our interviewees. At this point in time, we're moving on to another round of interviews. We had discussed kind of our prioritization of the first candidates, and we felt that since we were not able to actually provide a job offer to the one that we had talked to, that we will move on to another round of interviewing. So that's where we are in this process. Again, I'm not sure why you think that's on me personally. I am chairman of the board right now, but as chairman, it's nothing more than running the agenda. I have no individual authority. I can't make a decision to overturn anything that the board does.
Would you like me to answer why I feel that way?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Have watched the commissioners' meetings over the last couple of years. And again, Mr. Wallace, please no disrespect towards you. I've watched Mr. Finch previously and Mr. Wallace fight against all the negativity coming from you. And I watched Mr. Finch step away from this. I watched Mr. Wallace step back into his seat and basically not say anything. I don't know Randy very well. Randy's new to the position. He's not getting a lot of guidance from Mr. Wallace in this position because Mr. Wallace is frustrated. I can see that in him. And so Randy's getting all his cues from you on what to be done. And I'm not saying you don't have your own mind, Randy, or I'm not saying that.
I don't vote with her on everything.
But that's the voice. That's the voice you're hearing in your voice.
Just stiff me on getting our rent money.
So.
Well, I just want, sometimes I'll agree with her, is I want to proceed, there are things to proceed. Right. So I may second motions, that doesn't mean I'm voting along and things. I knew that a lot.
Well, let's go back to the actual subject. The subject is the interviewing process, and the way that it's been going since we've had several rounds of interviews now for different positions, we are all receiving the candidates' applications. So they may be in different formats depending on how they applied. So we receive the application information and the resume if they attach a resume. And then each one of us is choosing who we'd like to interview. And when there's a crossover between two people making a choice to interview, then that person gets picked. So that's how we've done it. I think that's the most appropriate way. I can't see that we could determine another way that's unbiased to choose our interviews. So
you're misunderstanding my point, but here I'll explain it a little bit better. I feel like I was disrespected in a Facebook post from Commissioner 3, and in that feeling of disrespect, the things that I have stepped up to do, as far as for the last 2 years, teaching all the continuing education, teaching all the community CPR education, first aid education, I will cease to continue to do that. And the new director that you hire can take care of that. I also will not step up to train a new director that is not aware of how to do certain aspects of his job. So that's all I have to say today. If you have any questions, you all have my cell phone number. Feel free to call me.
thanks for coming in. Now I would like to address, okay, first what I'd like to talk about is moving the room, because I do think we need to proceed with that. And Dawn, I don't know if they gave you a timeline on that tabletop.
I was thinking April 12th, but I haven't heard from him, so now I'm thinking it might have said April 15th, so it should be soon,
Okay,
so.
I think that we could.
That's today.
Oh,
April
15th is today, okay. So hopefully, no, we need to pick it up though, right?
Okay.
How do we want to go about
I'm
that?
not sure.
Because it's 8 foot long.
And yes, and it's 5 foot wide. I don't think that it will fit in my Explorer, and I don't think it will fit in the van. So we'll have to trailer it. We have a trailer personally, but I don't have, like Ray's vehicle isn't really, we don't leave the county with it technically.
I can probably get it.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say that Jonathan at the nursing home, I think he goes to sign it and go there to get things, maybe he could pick it up, cause he goes down there and get,
Do you want to ask him?
we could. I
And
guess, yeah. I
if
don't
you
know.
ask him and he can't,
Okay,
I'll do it.
okay.
Myself and my husband. Okay, so we need that tabletop.
Where's
I need
that
to
at?
check the date
I-
of Menards.
Menards, okay.
Yeah, could you call and just check up on that? We'll
Yeah.
give it a week, and then after that, someone can pick it up.
Yeah.
Do we'd have to have some official authority to say that
I've
we're from
already
Lincoln
paid-
County and we're gonna here to pick up the tabletop?
I don't think so. I've already paid for it. I just need to send probably a receipt with whoever
Sure,
when they're,
sure. Is it under your name or under, did you put it under the
It's
county?
under Lincoln County.
Lincoln County, okay.
But yeah, it was gonna be a couple of weeks, so it's probably been a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Okay. So for moving into the new room, is there someone that could remove any of the existing lines or anything that don't need to be in there and kind of get it down, stripped down? Or what do we need to address with that system
We probably I need to have Next Tech come in to begin with and they roll everything up. The problem is you don't really wanna cut those lines because they're already ran, so, but maybe we can find.
I just don't know what's old, obsolete, dead, using, or what was particular to extension, and how are we going to get our phone line in there is also, because I feel like for conference calls, that could be very helpful.
Yeah, we should have like in the olden days, now we all have cell phones, but we used to have a conference
Just the
call.
table,
Yeah,
yeah.
teleconference phone, and you would hit it and then you could talk.
Well, upstairs in the old commission room, there was a phone for the commission
That
room,
was
and we have our own line, so.
Of course, cell
Or
phones.
did we give that to HR though?
Well, we did, but we
We only use it once
give
a
it
week,
back
so,
and
yeah.
figure something else
Right.
out.
We'll get
We,
fixed.
we only use it once a week, so that would be fine. I would like to see us be set up in that room so that it's functioning. I would also suggest that we invest in some actual equipment to put in that room that stays in that room for recording purposes. You know, I've been doing this on my own just because it was part of the promise that I made in my campaigning that I was going to bring it to the public. I really think the commission needs to do that, step up to the plate and be visible. Other counties do it. It's not, there are actually very few counties, I don't think there are any counties where it's just one commissioner bringing in their own personal equipment. We need to have the county buy the equipment, put it in the room, the camera and the speaker belongs to the county, no one's taking it home, and then the problem that I foresee is getting someone to upload it and actually be responsible for that. I think we can still probably use the volunteers that are willing to do that, but I would like to see us purchase the equipment and own it and leave it here. And that way it's done and
Can you
permanent.
You got a quote, you know what that stuff costs?
No, I will gladly do that.
Can you, do a check on that?
I will gladly do that.
What do you have now? You just have your camera, right?
I just have a
And
little handheld,
And that's a video camera recording all this.
yes,
And,
and it goes on a memory
And you have
chip.
memory chip, and then you just put that and upload it to the YouTube, right?
And
that's
I
something
don't
like-
personally do that. I'm kind
Mr.
of
Gerson
challenged,
does, doesn't he?
yes. And I had some offers to help, and actually Mr. Schale had offered originally too. But the Gersons were able to do it with their own
Yeah, okay.
equipment, and so they continued to do that, and then ran the website for it too.
Okay.
So there's actually a foundation. It's called Post Rock Open Meetings. And so I would suggest that we would take advantage of volunteerism on that because it would save us money. But, the commission has been paying for other things like mileage to get back and forth to the courthouse. I think the least we can do is pay to provide the public access to the meeting.
Yeah, can you check on
I will bring bids.
prices on that stuff?
Yes, for the camera, and we would need a few chips and whatnot, and speaker, not speakers, microphone.
Just a camera and a chip like you got now. Something similar to what you got would be fine, right?
Yes, yeah, it doesn't have to be anything exorbitant.
Yeah.
But I would like that in the new room, and it can stay there then. Did you want to address the commission today?
Yes, please.
Come forward, please.
I had a question.
Sure.
Has there been any update or any progress on bridge southwest of town on Jaguar Drive? Is there any plans or any?
There are no plans right now to do that. We have many other problems in this county right now that we're dealing with.
I agree.
It's gonna be a major, it'll be a major undertaking, I think, for that bridge probably.
Yeah.
So no, we don't have the money and the finances, nor do we have a plan to do that.
Yeah, that's,
Which one is?
He's south, you're down here in Elkhorn.
yep, Elkhorn 12,
You know what bridge, one
Is it this?
Brush Creek,
Is it over Lark, or no?
south of Elkhorn 12 in the southeast corner.
This is 12.
Oh, township or section 12?
Yes,
Yeah, but so would it be over to, it's not, so is it less than 20 feet long?
no.
So,
It's right in there, right
Yes.
in there.
but it's not marked.
I think it's been closed, so you might
Oh.
have a new map that
Okay.
doesn't show it.
It would be over this water line here, or where are
116
we?
there.
Over this water maybe?
Is that on what creek?
Brush Creek,
Rush Creek, yeah.
Brush Creek,
Rush
That
Creek
is?
comes down here. So it'd be right
So
there, probably.
But this is 12.
it's on Jagger Drive.
Oh, here's Jared. Right here?
Yes, that looks correct, right
Right
there.
there.
Or
Yep.
over that water there.
Yep,
So that is not a gravel road, is that just dirt?
it is a dirt road.
And it's longer than 20-foot span?
Yes, it is a 40-footer. And it's one of those classic examples of, I've told you before, that it's a big bridge, but not a lot of water goes under it because the creeks can't handle it. And so according to, from what I've been told, the higher ups, it needs to be replaced with something of the same size. And there's no necessary, no reason to doing that. We're just asking for something. I looked in at railroad cars, $10,000 to get a railroad car, drop in there. Yeah, it might not meet all the specs, and I don't know, but what all do you have to do to get people to sign off saying it is okay?
Not for you, but we thought maybe you needed to be here.
Okay,
Under what executive session we wanna go into?
okay.
What number?
So we were debating on entering under number 10 or 5, but what we'd like to discuss are the contracts that exist between various county departments and the medical director,
Okay,
because we need to just get updated information and know that that's happening, and that's not something I've ever looked at as far as the contract.
okay. I don't know what 1 and 5 is. I don't have those.
Adversely or favorably affecting, except that any such person shall have the right to a public hearing. But it matters relating to adversely affecting a person.
Okay.
I didn't know if under 10, that if we were discussing matters to, with a patient or provider, do they have to be here though? That's kind of my assumption is, if you were discussing patient-provider issues, it would be because one of them or both were here. Does that-
Yes,
So I need number 5.
yeah, I think that would be fair.
Okay, so I withdrew my first motion. I move to recess into executive session for 10 minutes for the purpose of discussing contracts with county departments and the county medical director pursuant to KSA 7543-19-2B under number 5, to discuss matters relating to actions adversely or favorably affecting a person as a student, patient, or resident of a public institution, except that any such person shall have the right to a public hearing if requested by the person. To reconvene in the basement meeting room of the courthouse with the county commission, the county attorney, the county health department director, and Dawn, unless you object, I think you've been acting on behalf of the EMS, so could I ask that you stay? Okay, so then Dawn, the county clerk.
A second.
Is there any further discussion? If not, those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, none opposed. Yeah, shut that off. So I'm gonna write in there about maintaining and updating. And what did we say that, I'm gonna put that under marginal functions because that only happens once a year.
What's that?
Develops and implements new department policies as required by federal, state, and county agencies. Maintains contact with county medical director, so I'm gonna put maintains contact and contract. Contact and contract with the county medical director. And I wrote updating. So, Aljo, what did you?
So they have to approve. They have to approve those protocols.
Yeah, what is that called? Do you know?
They're protocols, I don't know.
Dawn, do you know what the technical? Krista had a book of
I think it's their
protocols.
It's
Okay.
their protocols, but I don't think they're supposed to review them every year. I don't think they have to update them every year.
Correct. I think it's.
And I think they're signing off that he has approved those protocols. They just haven't been changed any, I guess is what I took it from what Krista said.
Right, because if the medical director wanted an
But
update,
they
he would
are
request
being,
it. And
they are being reviewed, or they're being seen each year that we have them. We wouldn't get a license if we didn't.
okay. So I'm gonna add that under the first bullet point at the bottom under marginal functions. Is there anything else? I reworded some of that at the top. Dawn, did you notice anything or typos or?
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Okay.
I've looked at it. The fourth one down, fifth one down, says hires. I think it needs to propose hires because the county commission does the hiring.
Okay.
We have to sign off on it.
Okay.
I think that on the next bullet point, I think you need to put a period or a semicolon after work quality
Okay.
and capitalize approves because those are two different things.
Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And reporting to HR in a timely manner. I don't know what the word is, but she needs to be informed. I mean, they need to
Informing.
work together.
So informing.
They need to work together. I don't know how you get that because
Well, let's say informing.
she needs to know about the
The
overtime, and she needs to know about the time off.
Mhm.
You know, that's
Mhm.
so that has to, and maybe reporting is the way it is.
And PTO needs to either change the leave time or we need to change our policy to read PTO, but our policy as it is right now says leave time.
Okay, so what is that question that people kept asking through self-evaluations about the,
They don't like the extended illness.
Extended
So a
illness.
very, very long time ago, we used to get 8 hours of leave time, or 8 hours of vacation, 8 hours of sick. In 2000, they changed it because we had so much time on the
Built up.
books that it was like a mil or 2 mil. So because we call it pre-2000, so it had been in 1999, they changed it to where they get 12 hours of leave time. We don't care if they're sick or they're not sick.
so we change it from vacation and sick to leave.
To leave an extended illness. And so 4 hours is put into an extended illness bucket. And to be
Oh,
able
so
to
the
utilize
employee
that.
is viewing that as potential time off that they can't get, but really it's just for sick leave that you've already used up all your paid
You-
time off.
Yes. So
And then if you're sick, you can utilize that, but that has to be like doctor approval,
You
that
have to
kind
have
of
a doctor's note, and you have
Be
to
off
use
for the-
3 days or 24 hours of your leave time before you can utilize that.
under
That's
the
where-
doctor.
Yes, and then we
Okay.
don't pay them when they leave for that extended illness time.
And
Okay.
The reason
But
they,
it protects their job security.
the reason they did that was because of an accounting issue, that is a liability to the county if you are paying that. And just like capers, that now has to be recorded on your audit as a liability of those caper. If capers would go broke,
Yeah.
the county is responsible for that. And so that's why it's put into the audit, and those numbers become extremely large. And that's what happened to Lincoln County. All that leave time they built had become so massive that it was becoming a big draw on our liability.
And we had a ton, I mean,
Yeah.
when you start talking about it, we had employees that had years that they
Yes.
could take off.
So,
And something about if we set it up this way, the extended illness, you know, you have to pay out benefits that you provide to employees. But because of the way it's called and what it is, you don't have to pay that portion out.
It's not, yeah, it's not a liability. It's not a future liability
okay,
hanging over your head.
okay. So may I suggest, since we're doing the new hire with the HR, that we just change it to PTO and go with this concept of paid time off, and maybe that will realign people's thinking about their accessibility of their sick extended leave? Does that make sense?
But what would you call the extended leave?
You can leave it that. What do you call it now?
Extended illness.
Extended illness. Well, that's the key. They're not grasping that it's for illness and you can't get it unless you've already established these precursory things.
And many of them don't get it that in the real world, in the real job
You don't even get
force,
that.
You don't even get that.
No, no.
And most employees don't even get leave time until they've been there after a year, and if
Right,
they
you can't
do,
even
then it's
use,
only a couple
even if
of
you do
days.
accumulate it, you can't use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
so,
right, which
I mean,
Yeah.
that's where I come
We,
from.
but
I'm
we
a little more
allow,
callous with you guys
we
than I am
allow
with them.
accumulation up to, what, 80, 90 hours?
Yes, they can carry over 80 hours,
Yeah.
but the bad thing about that is the way that we have it written in the handbook right now, it says they cannot carry over more than 80 hours on December 31st. But they don't earn their December time until December 25th. So they have,
that last Christmas week
then
is
they have
like
another
use it or
12
lose
hours they
it.
still have to get down to.
Mhm.
And so I'd like to change that to where it's the pay period, that
Mhm.
they have until the end of the pay period to get down to their 80
That'd be a good
hours.
idea.
Because technically they can't use the 12 hours until
Well, couldn't we
December
just change
26th.
it to the, I mean, well, but see, but that still crams it to be over that holiday season.
Yes.
And that's a problem.
Well,
for
that's
cer-
where you need to start talking to your department heads about they need to encourage. Like some of the department heads believe that they can't tell employees that they can't take time off, but our handbook is very clear. You can tell them that they can't
It's,
take time
well,
off.
all of that, what I read says approved, 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 everything has to be pre-approved, technically. Now, if you're sick, that's different, but that's why if you're extendedly sick, then you have to meet all those elements to then utilize that time. Otherwise, you're just sick and you say, I'll be in the next, day or two. But would you like to change it to paid time off? Because you're off for a reason that doesn't matter to us, other than if you're going to substantiate it with a doctor's note so that you can then utilize your extended illness. It really doesn't matter. Leave time is leave time.
It does not matter to me. It's just that's what we're accustomed to. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. On
No,
their
it's not-
paycheck stubs, it still says vacation and sick. But the only way to change that on their paycheck stubs is to pay for a special program, in which I don't feel like we should have to pay several
But
$100
are we
just to change
differentiating
them.
between vacation and sick? Are we actually doing a breakdown on the paycheck?
Yes, there is a paycheck, but it's leave time, so what says vacation on their paycheck stub is actually leave time.
I know,
We
but
can't
what
really
I'm
tell
saying is
employees
you don't necessarily know if a highway department personnel was sick on that day or not.
That's why I'm saying they don't have separate, but their paychecks say it is. Because we didn't go with the special programming, I think it was like $500 to change that. Because all
So
of
do
the
you
other
just,
times,
do you just put it all under sick time or all under vacation time?
it's under vacation and sick
But
on
that's
the
what I'm saying.
paycheck stub.
But who
But for
separates
us,
them?
We do, but for us, it's leave time or extended illness. So when we
Oh,
have a
so
new
when you're
employee-
visualizing it, you know that the top line is leave time and it says vacation, but you know that the bottom time is sick and that's only extended illness.
Yes, and we
Gotcha.
tell the employees that
That's-
before they get their first paycheck stub.
Yeah, but that's the missing link then.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna go modify every single employee's, I'm not
No,
modifying
no.
94
No,
paycheck stubs.
no.
just to
I
get
just
it
wondered
to
how
be
you
right.
knew the difference. I see what you're saying. You put all the leave under vacation, then you put the extended illness under, which makes sense.
Well, with that being said, I kind of forgot to get on the agenda. I can wait until next Monday, but I have Hannah's,
Yeah, we can do
I
that.
have Hannah's evaluation. And I also want to ask, so I have her evaluation and I'm going to present it to you guys. And then I would also ask for her to have a 25-cent raise for all the added responsibility that she's doing in her office. And then technically, I'm supposed to have a deputy. And the more and more that I consider, do I want this job anymore, and do I really like this job anymore, it is really important that I maybe have a successor, because I may get smoked by a truck someday, because I have a lot of things on my mind. And so, to be honest with you, we were coming home from Brittany's game, and I may have flew back by a semi and hit an icy spot, and I'm not sure why Ray and I are still alive today. So with that being said, I kind of realized I need to do some succession planning in my office. And I've not had, technically I'm supposed to have a deputy by statute. I have not done that because I always had a hard time promoting a deputy that had been there less time than Deborah had been. But Deborah had a dual role. And so I struggled with that, but it's probably time that I do something, because in all reality, somebody needs to be responsible when I am out of the county to be able to sign checks and deeds and continue process. So, and I really would like to try to start getting back to going to meetings. And so when that happens, it kind of, the office halts until I come back. So with that being said, in all the years past, normally the deputy got a 50-cent an hour raise to do that. So I'm going to request that Hannah get 75 cents when we review her job description. And then of course, then I'll probably recommend the entire 25 cents when we do
Have you done the math in your budget for that?
Yes, I do have the budget to do it.
Okay.
And if I didn't, I would rob Peter and pay Paul with it to be able to do it. She's really kind of one of the lowest paid employees if you look at the pay schedule, because she is the newest employee, but she's been here a while, and I feel like she's doing a really good job. So we can kind of go over the evaluation, and I'll discuss that a little bit more. But anyways, that's where I'm going to go from. So do you want to discuss it today before you leave? Do you want to wait and do it next week?
No, I believe we should do the evaluation now. Bless you.
And I know that it will make everybody angry what I'm asking for, but I'm sorry, I feel like we need to get outside of the realm where we start rewarding employees for doing good jobs and stepping up and taking on more responsibility than what they ask for. Because in times past, whenever we ask for a raise, then every other department gets angry because you give them a raise, but those are hard to ask. So I'm ready whenever anybody else.
Want me to do it?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to move to recess into executive session for how long, Don? 15 minutes, 10 minutes?
As long as you guys.
I think 10.
I would think
10 for one
10
person
or
should be
5.
fine.
For 10 minutes for the purpose of discussing the evaluation of non-elected employees, is that right?
The top line, are you up here?
Yeah.
You would say the clerk's office evaluation,
For the county clerk's office,
and then you'd say,
yeah, to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel.
yes.
And with the commission present and the
County clerk.
county clerk, and to reconvene back in the Lincoln County Courthouse, Commissioner's Room.
Yes, that's it. I'll second. It's been moved and seconded for the evaluation to the clerk's office. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Lyra, can you turn that off for me?
You're gonna get it down pat, Randy.
Yeah, thank you. You're saving my
You're gonna have to
whistler
send me to
to-
You know,
rescue, so we're gonna.
It happened, it happened at the school system too.
Sure, sure.
When the clerical people had to go on to it, they were not
But
happy.
that goes back to just being assertive and saying now's the time.
Well, it's like we're saying, we
Regardless.
don't trust you putting down your time,
Yeah, that's
so we're gonna
right.
make you clock in
Yeah.
to prove
You
it.
know
mean, that's
what?
kind of
But
what
the
the-
only person that knows whether that's true or not is internal.
No, no.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, it's not a
If you're
reflection
honest
on
and
us.
straightforward, you shouldn't care a bit about it.
Right. Right, exactly. It should be, actually, you should welcome it so
Yeah.
that you're all held to the equal accountability level.
I agree.
So,
I would move that we grant Hannah a 75-cent
I did.
increase in salary due to the fact that of the less employed, I guess. I don't know whether I need to put that in my motion.
It doesn't need to be in the motion.
But that's, go ahead and second, and I'll discuss it.
I'll second that.
This is due to the fact that we have taken an employee out of the county clerk's office, and we have operated for the last 6 months or 7 months without a deputy clerk, which could have been a real problem for us had our clerk not been able to fulfill her duties. And so 50 cents of that is designated as a deputy clerk appointment that will be made by Dawn, and the other 25 cents is for the extra payroll work that is being done by that office.
I would just like to add to the discussion that the justification for the money is incentivizing the employee who is currently there taking on the workload to continue to do so at the appropriate pace to prevent us from the need for another body. And, I'm seconding the motion because I know that we have taken the HR and now created a position, which I originally did not vote to be full-time. And that person, the more that I've learned about the responsibilities that are going to go on to that person when they take on that position, the more I see the justification for it to be full-time. However, we're hoping that that person also implements new ideas and helps structure and organize things that cost us money. There is a lot of waste in government operations because of the downtime, because of the lack of planning, just like the succession planning. I mean, that's something that HR can tackle for us in many department head areas that really would save us a lot of time. And we're kind of spearheading this interview process to even get the HR person here, and then we're going to expect this new HR person to just go ahead and find us a broker and maybe even change our whole insurance plan over. So what I'm saying is, instead of having any of that being done in Dawn's office, we're now separating that, but we're hoping that Dawn's office can continue to run with one employee. And we don't want to see the need. I would say the clerk's office is the busiest office. So we don't want to see the need to expand personnel in there, and I'd rather pay the people well in there that are doing it and hopefully avoid that in the near future. So that's my...
I agree.
I don't know if you have any
I agree with
other-
Al Joe, and I agree with you, Alexis. Yeah, it's a very important office. Don's been very busy since I've been a commissioner here in the last 3 months. She's been extremely busy, so I agree with both of you.
If there's no further discussion or any questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Okay, so I have abatements in front of me. Yeah. Madison Township, Randy and Greta Overmuller, $570.28 for, where's the note? How do I find the note on here? It was the correct,
You're in the middle about something you didn't say.
I'm assuming it's a payment under protest, but.
oh. I don't know, Aljo, can you find that?
One moment, just a second.
Are these all the same?
One's 2016, 2017, and 2018. We have
Oh,
to
they're
do
all
this
the,
separate.
okay, it says was double taxed is what the comment says. Clerical error.
Double
rate.
tax, Jim, that's what this says. Right there.
Okay, so 2000, that was 16.
This is 16.
2017 is for $614.14. 2018 is for $608.18. So what does double tax mean?
That means that they probably combined the land and they didn't catch it. I mean,
Well, these are different land
yeah, but
numbers.
it says down here it was combined with whatever that is, was double tax. That means it got put into two different pieces, I guess is what I'm saying.
Like the value got,
Yeah.
the value of the, it got value
It
to
was
ours.
taxed under one category and then
So,
it probably
like,
got
there's
moved and then another one.
If there's a certain, I mean, I could go ask Rhonda for sure, but, I'm assuming that they combined the parcels, but,
Yeah.
and then they doubled the value instead of leaving the value
Probably.
like it was supposed to be, but I can go ask.
They probably just caught it. They probably hadn't paid attention to the taxes. We had a guy over at Barnard that paid taxes on his next door neighbor's 3 or 4 lots in Milo, Kansas for 40 years, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Because they just had it
They didn't, yeah, they didn't get it recorded right.
recorded correctly.
Yeah. Which I think amounted to probably $1.50 or something.
Yeah,
But it was really kind of funny when he found out about it.
Yeah.
Hi, Rhonda. We just had a question about the abatements you sent down.
Okay,
3 years.
what happened is we combined 2 parcels together, and what happened, the one parcel didn't get it inactivated. So it was running, those 2 parcels where one shouldn't have been because it was already on the, it was
So is it
combined.
now one parcel number?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Was
Yeah.
that at the request of the landowner, or why did that happen?
No, we're supposed to, if it's continuous, if a owner owns continuous property and taxing
you can
district,
combine it,
you're supposed to combine it, yeah.
even if it's deeded separately.
Oh, if it's deeded separate, no. It's gotta have the same owners' names and everything, exactly the same.
But I'm saying, say you bought a piece of property,
Uh-huh.
and then you bought the one next door.
Uh-huh.
So that's continuous ownership.
Yeah.
Can you
Yes.
reparcel that into one section?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's maybe what happened.
That's what that's what
And
happened.
they taxed
and
the old ones with 2 little parcels, and they taxed the new one, which combined.
With one.
Right,
double
right,
on one,
and we didn't
double on
catch
one of the
that,
parcels.
yeah, we didn't catch that,
But do
happened.
you notify the landowner that you're combining their parcels into one?
No, when they get their notice, it is
So what if
combined.
they wanted to resell just the one section? Do they have to go and get it re-deeded into
No.
a separate parcel number?
If they, no, because if they want to redeed it, they just redeed that legal they want to, and if we have to split it,
So then
we'll
you'll
split
add
it.
another parcel number
Or
to the
split.
next person.
I'll do a
if they
split or
buy it.
whatever,
Okay.
yeah.
Do they request to combine that, or do you?
Some people
or you
do.
determine that?
Well, by state, we're kind of supposed to buy,
Wouldn't it be
but
easier if you don't do it if they're two, like if one's a pasture, one's a crop?
no, I mean, not
But
really.
then wouldn't each parcel number be taxed for its purpose? Or how
It's
do you-
still taxed for its purpose, but it's just
Well,
one
you
property.
might have a section, you might have half farm ground, half
Pasture.
pasture, and they're same
And that's
parcel.
just the same parcel.
Same parcel,
So
but half of it's evaluated as
pasture. and-
320 acres might be
Yeah.
pasture, 320 farm ground.
Right, right.
Even if it's
So,
the same parcel.
yeah, so, even though it is 2 different kinds of, like you said, pasture or cropland, as long as it's all one continuous, it is divided.
Under the same
we
owner
yeah,
is
we delineate which is which
Yeah,
and stuff.
okay.
And there's some properties, yes, that people own in the same description, but a taxing unit divides it. So then we
So,
can't combine those.
How many years back do you go for sales records to do the valuation?
On on houses,
No, if it would be land.
land we don't use sales for
They use
any
an
value.
8-year sliding scale.
Yeah, that's use value.
That's
We
what Truett told
we
me.
don't use anything for.
So that's every type is state. Is the state? You gave me the list of all the different types of soil
Soil,
types
yes.
and the,
Mhm,
okay.
Yeah, that's
So there's
use
no
value.
portion of you can't have like a patch of woods that is sold like by the acre that you would value based on sale. It's all
No, it's all
whatever it
use,
is according
yeah,
to, okay.
it's use type. Mhm.
Okay.
It's use type.
Okay.
All that
Now,
is,
did you
yeah.
catch this problem, or did they complain to you?
They were, I have to admit, the taxpayer caught that one.
Well, they say, hey, that ain't,
They
that's
they caught
600 bucks
that it-
more than I used to pay. How
No,
come you don't?
they had, it'd been like that for a few years, and
Oh.
this is the first year they caught it.
Oh, yeah.
And no, we hadn't caught it, that had been,
So
that
you
had
have several
happened.
years of this now?
That's why there's 3 years of,
So we
Rebate.
back pay them that then?
So
Yeah.
you combined the parcels about 3 years ago, but
It
just
was.
this year they've realized
Nice,
that
yeah.
that
Mhm.
one parcel was still adding its amount on top of the new combined.
it was a 40 and we combined it with a 80, I think it was.
Mhm.
And when he looked at it, he goes, wait a minute, those acres, so yes, they caught it. It was our mistake, they caught it, but yes, that's why we went back and did.
They also
Okay.
had an extra paper in there.
What?
They had an extra paper. in
Right,
there.
yeah, they
Folder
realized that.
had-
And we did a lot of combinations this last year. We did a lot, cleaned up a bunch of combinations and stuff too. So we've had a few people that ask, "Oh, okay." Then when you tell them this makes
Okay.
that, this adds to this, and they're okay with it and stuff.
Have,
It's
have
one
you
less.
had this happen before? Or is this...
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh well, I don't know about.
I mean, it
we
can
had
be a common issue, is what you're
Yeah.
saying, because every time, then actually the landowner needs to double check.
right, and that was yeah. Mhm. You know, we check, but you know, sometimes that accidentally you don't get it done. You know, and yeah, it's kind of to the landowners to check to just like you know, if you have CRP ground and you take it out, the landowner's really the one responsible
have
for
to
coming in.
notify.
Yeah, to notify us. So there's, yes, it was our mistake, but yes, it kind of goes back to you know they kind of need to check their stuff too,
Do you get
or
a-
if they got pasture, they turn to cropland. That's one they don't tell us too often
Yeah.
because it raises it.
Yeah.
You know, we catch those. You know,
Yeah,
by
you-
looking at maps, we
yeah,
catch
how do
them.
how do you do that?
For maps from year to year.
Maps, and Truett goes around and sees it. probably,
Truett
too,
only
doesn't
does
he?
real estate, right?
Oh, he's
Well,
over there.
he does. I mean, real
Cropland,
estate is land and buildings.
Yeah,
But yeah, if we have something that is questionable, and he'll look at it. But Terry does it on the computer by comparing 1 year's maps or
pasture
area
1 year,
photos.
farmland the
Mhm.
next.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that when she was working on all this stuff this
Where are
year.
the photos coming from?
The what?
The aerial view.
ASC,
What's it called?
Farm Services.
FSA, Farm
We get-
Services.
Okay.
We get their aerials.
Yeah,
I think our most current
Where?
ones, the most current ones are 17s and stuff. But
do they notify you like the CRP does go out of contract?
They're supposed
The
to.
NRCS tells you?
No. No.
The farmer's supposed to tell you.
So you
F-
are
yeah.
constantly looking to update. So do you do that in the beginning of the year? Because isn't it everything as of January 1st?
Well, yeah, actually, we start working on it.
So how do you know if someone switched
We send out
crops in the
letters and
fall crop or the spring? You know what I mean?
well, if it's still cropland, that's fine.
Drop around.
No, but let's say they took a piece of pasture, cleared the
Okay.
stumps, and turned
Turned
it
it
into
to
crop
crop.
for fall crop
Right, and so that would, if they did it in the middle of the year, that would change for the first of the next
the next year.
Right.
But I'm saying, when do you do it to know when
As
that
the,
change?
as the year, as it goes through the year. Now, we send out any CRP that we have that we know of in the computer, and let's say it expires, CRP always expires in September 31st of a year.
Okay.
So this year, anything that expires September 31st of 19, we will send them a letter and say, you know, we have that your CRP expired. What did you do with it? Did you re-up into a new contract? Did you leave it as pasture, or did you change it to cropland? Because CRP, no matter what, is done as cropland until it comes out of the contract. And then if they keep it as grass, then it goes to pasture. If they break it back out and put it in cropland. So CRP is something to their favor if they let us know
Okay.
and stuff. But we cannot, we ourselves, without a signed release from the landowner, we cannot go to the FSA office and get any information.
Just the aerial photos.
Well, no, our area photos are downloaded on Orion.
Oh, okay.
The-
But that's who takes them.
Yeah, it's through DASC, government deal, and they just DASC downloads them on our
So you got
Orion
it for every
system.
parcel in Lincoln County then?
Well, yeah, we got all the aerials, and then
Sure.
see, we have the mapping. We had the map. See, I can pull up, and we have two sets of mapping. What's on Orion, and then what Terry has, which is more detailed. I can pull up any parcel, and we have it mapped
Sure.
and stuff, and have the soil delineation and everything on that, and that's how we figure our acres for each soil type and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a two-way deal. We can't get information from, so when we send out land questionnaires, there is a form on the back that is an FSA form, their approval request form. And as long as the landowner signs that, then we can go to the FSA office and say, okay, they say they have CRP. Where's it located? How many acres? Okay, did this go out? And we can do that. Years and years ago, I used to be able to just go down to the FSA office and ask for a map to see what people have done. You can't do that anymore. I don't know how many years ago. It's been probably 10 years or more that I could do that and stuff. So now we have to rely on the taxpayer telling us what they've done with the CRP, if they've changed pasture to cropland. Sometimes that we, drive by, you see, oh, that used to be a field, it isn't anymore. And then we come back and look at it. But the CRP is the toughest one. And stuff.
So what is Truett doing if you're using with the land, not housing real estate, but with the land, what is he double checking what you've already determined by aerial photos, or is he?
If we have a question on something we can't really tell.
So he's only doing the land by your appointment. He's not out to check land. It's
no. Originally, yes. When we started this way back in '89.
When he started coming.
Right, but back in '89 we started reappraisal.
Okay.
We didn't have the aerial photos like we do now.
Right.
So you had to use these great big blue line maps, and that's how you delineated the crop. So then that got transferred and measured out by this little machine to come up with the acres. Okay. Now that it's in the computer and all digitized, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And stuff. But yes, there's on land like that, there's quite a few different ways.
Was he still just contracted to come however many days then?
Okay, back when it originally started, we had hired the company Pearson's Appraisal to do, and let's see, there was about 4 different companies that came to Kansas when we had to do reappraisal. When the reappraisal had to be done, we started in '88 and reappraisal had to be done by '90.
Okay.
And so then all these companies, appraisal companies, came to Kansas. And then after that first done with, the companies left, but some of the people from the companies stayed. So that's when Truett and a couple other people from Pearson's
and started their own contracting.
Well, yeah, they're in the contact individually.
Do you sign a contract with him?
Mm-hmm.
You personally?
The county.
County does.
Yeah.
And how many years was that for?
3.
At the same time yours was?
No.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've seen that. Should it be up this year?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It will be.
Doesn't he check on it, like out farmsteads, if somebody puts up a new shed or building or paints that? That's kind of what he evaluates, and that
he does.
If you put up a new mortar building, he evaluates what that's worth.
Right. Well, he gets the information and we work on it.
Right.
But every year we have to do in a 6-year time, every property is re-looked at. As redone, looked at, measured, whatever. But every year we do final review where he drives by every piece of property. Yeah. Buildings, now not land. I mean, vacant land. But when he does re-inspection, yes, he goes around every property and stuff. And, at that time, if he sees something that looks funny on land and stuff too, he'll let us know. Or, we send maps out, hey, check this out, when we're doing that.
So when does that contract expire for him?
The end of May.
Oh, are you in the process of getting bids?
No.
Who gets the bids?
We never taken bids. He's always had the contract. And since '90, he's only raised his price once.
Well, I'm not interested in the price, I'm interested in accuracy for that, but, that's something we should definitely look at.
Accuracy, meaning what? His work?
Uh-huh.
Well, we've been in compliance with the state ever since we've done this since '90. we've never been out of compliance. So, you know, that there speaks very highly of what we do.
Yeah,
And how our
I
county-
need to see the contract, cause I've honestly not ever seen it. It hasn't come up while I've been at the table, and that's why I asked the question today. I wasn't sure how that works, so now you're informing me that it was signed the year before I got in, so now this is the third year, so then we'll be looking at it
Yeah,
again, so that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
that it's coming up, and I was gonna get with you guys next week or week after, whenever,
Okay,
and stuff before then.
okay.
But yeah, it's been, yeah.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Yeah, thanks.
I move to approve the tax abatements presented by the appraiser's office. And are these dated correctly because they're in the tax year 18? Okay, 2018-16, 17, and 18, all under the same name.
Randy and Greta O'Malley. I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the abatements, $570.28, $614.14, $608.18. Any further questions or discussion? If not, those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Dawn, did you have something else besides the evaluation you wanted to go over today?
No, cause we talked about the ambulance interview, that
Was Michael O'Hare not able to come today, or you just didn't schedule him because we had other things, or do you know what the deal is with that?
no, he told you last week that he wasn't going to be.
That's
here.
right.
I think he had a meeting, but I'm not.
Okay, a few things going on there. I called Great Bend Co-op, and they had been waiting on him to get back to them with quantity information so that they could provide a bid. So the pieces of paper that were brought to the meeting last time were rack price plus their markup, which, now I've heard DNS does do contracts, so I'm not sure why they wouldn't give us a contract price. Would you like to call about that, or do you want me to?
Dina,
Uh-huh.
why don't you?
I'll do it.
Yeah, please.
So I'm not sure why they didn't give him a contract bid on that. I don't know if Home Oil does that too, but what they gave on paper was not a contract price, it was just rack price plus markup, and one was 1 cent lower than the other per gallon. Now, I did not get a rack price plus markup from Great Bend because all I asked them for was the contract information, and they said they were still waiting on the quantity information because obviously more quantity, better deal kind of thing. So I did notify Michael of that, and he said he would follow, or he did follow up then immediately and give them that quantity information. So we're waiting to hear back from them. And that was just the April through September timeframe. The other thing is, thankfully, we don't have any injuries, but I do know our bulldozer has been drug away because it was rolled off the pile. I don't know what the extent of the damage is, but I'm a little concerned about that. May be a big expense, I don't know. But
What happened? They rolled it?
you know, I didn't see the site or anything like that. I asked around that no one was hurt. Apparently the driver wasn't hurt and no one was too close in any other machinery or anything, but from what I understand,
They got it on the side,
they were
tipped it over, rolled on the side? And we don't know the damages to it or anything yet.
No, but I think it was hauled away for, I'm not sure what all needs looked at. I didn't even see it. Little update there. And the other thing that I want to talk about with the highway department is the contract that we have currently for the engineer. I think it's been helpful to see how that has progressed, to see some plans on paper. I know we've utilized that a lot as far as getting some things written down that may not otherwise be written down. But Dawn, and I guess Aljo, since you've been here before, I'm wondering, utilizing Schwab Eaton before, can you give me a little bit of comparison on how that worked with them versus what we're getting from Tanner Yost through, what is their company's name? Kirkham Michael.
I personally cannot, because we didn't use them in the stands. We used them just for projects, so like if we knew we
Just
were gonna
each
do-
project. So who was doing the writing, Tanner put together our proposal for our last bridge application?
Mhm.
So who was doing that before?
Swabie.
And were we getting more approvals, or, I mean, I'm not concerned about one denial, I know that's potentially just
Not-
happenstance.
Not necessarily. So very, very long time ago, the road supervisor did it. I've done the grant proposals. We used to have what was called a 5-year bridge plan. I think the problem is they don't have that 5-year bridge plan anymore. And so they've enacted a different kind of funding, which is very, very competitive, very limited funds for the entire state of Kansas. And instead they're doing that
80/20.
cost share, yeah, thing that they're giving your money back that you can use for road projects. So, and Michael did do some grants and was successful, prior to, I think because Schwab Eaton, or because Kirk and Michael is in here now doing things, it was easier just to say, let them apply for the grants.
Well, yeah, but Schwab Eaton was doing some of it. He would contact them and then he submitted them, right?
I don't think so. I think they would give, like when I was doing it, I would tell them which bridges you guys said you wanted to do, and then they would get you the information for the bridges,
Yeah.
but then we were writing
We were writing, yeah, but Schwab Eaton was involved in the,
Yes.
just to some extent. We just didn't have them on
'Cause they
staff.
have,
They were
like-
just they were just whenever we needed them.
Yes.
And the guy that, for Schwab Eaton, used to be engineer in Lincoln County, right?
Yes, that was John Cachette.
John Cachette, and so he knew everything about Lincoln County. That's why we were stuck with Schwab Eaton, and that's why we discontinued him when he retired.
And I
they-
think they were gonna not have it
Yeah.
work out of Beloit, but
Yeah.
out of Manhattan, so the
Manhattan.
mileage to get them
Mileage
here
was
was.
gonna be a problem.
part of
And
it.
the last one they did, we had problems.
So, I guess where I'm going with this is, I would like to see us utilize what we're paying for here monthly in a manner such as what we were just discussing with Mr. Bell. You know, if we have these bridges, that there could be an alternative fix to, that doesn't mean that we're gonna go in and put in $1 million bridge, but someone just wants, you know, the handbook that was given to us by Mr. Gersman here, that gives the, it wasn't this one, I think it was the other one. It gives the breakdown of all the options. And I would like to see us utilizing the engineer in that manner. I would like to see him come to the table with those options for us that are more cost effective. I was a little disappointed in the presentation on 120th Road for only 1.5 miles of road, and it was like upwards of a $500,000 project to do certain things. We know we can't afford that kind of an investment, nor does it even really make sense to anyone for a county who could afford it. So we need to have a few more options brought to the table. So I'd like to see us give a little more direction to the engineer at this point. I think we've just kind of let.
Tanner. So when he comes here, we'll discuss that with him.
Yeah, I think we need to see,
I've had several farmers like Mr. Bell come in and saying, we wouldn't need a, now, I don't know, like I'll just point out, you've gotta go by the law and the code by the state of Kansas, and they gotta be inspected and certified and all this stuff, and that's probably true. But some people think, let's just put a culvert in there and cover it up and drive over it type of thing, you know, which farmers would like to do, but legally, maybe we can't do that, that's simple.
well, but we don't know, and I think that's part of the problem. We don't know, so we need someone who does know these things, or we're paying to do the research
Yeah.
to do that.
I
And that's
agree.
probably where we need to be looking.
That would be
for
good, if we
that.
could do a simpler bridge fixing instead of the complex bridge fixing we're doing now, which is
So I had
very
asked-
expensive.
I asked Tanner myself for an update on all the things that he's helped with to this point. And so this was a while ago, this was 2 months ago. But basically, I'm just personally concerned with the items that he's been helping with, because it's not really supporting the infrastructure of our infrastructure, if you know what I'm saying by that. You know, we need to have a sound infrastructure within our highway department to improve the physical infrastructure. And so by him being tasked with all these specific items that really aren't going to help the underbelly of creating a better flow and prioritization process, you know, I don't know that we're spending that money wisely. So I'm not against having the engineer, but I think we need to give him direction, because right now the direction that he's getting is only from Michael, so he's just working on what he's told to work on. And I'll give you an example. The landfill, you know, that might have been something to task to the landfill a department head. He did do the permits for the bridges, which is great. That's some of the stuff we need him to do. The pile driving, talking about what our options are for pile driving. I mean, I feel like that's the responsibility of not only the director of public works, but whoever's heading up the bridge crew. You know, that should be the type of thing that they're reporting to us on, or through their supervisor. That wind farm repower discussion, I mean, we paid him to be here to discuss that with us, and I'm not exactly sure that was really on point. FEMA maps and the tuck pointing projects, he's reporting to me in this list what he has discussed with Michael. And so, like, the tuck pointing, I brought this up since the first time that I really had a conversation about the highway department. We should be getting bids on that from masons. You know, I don't think we need an engineer to tell us that we need a bid. I think we just need to get the bids. We don't have to do all the bridges at once. We need to really focus on which ones need it, or what area we could best utilize someone in their workspace. Accident crash data filed at the sheriff's office and sent to the state. That's something he listed. Pile driving, borrowing the pit at the landfill. Oh no, I think he means permit. Borrow pit at landfill. It would be good to see what area is permitted. Okay, so that's when they talked about the structures, the cells, and permitting those. McReynolds Mill Dam Park. I mean, I'm not sure why some of these things are even on here as to why, as to what extent we're involving our county money to pay the engineer to work on some of these projects. 120th Road, I thought that was an appropriate thing to ask him, but again, I'm not satisfied with the options that were brought forth. Let's see, what else does he say? Bridge inspection, that's fine. The retaining wall in the health department, we specifically asked him to do that. Purchasing anhydrous tanks. I mean, I think that again should be tasked to the director or whoever, or the bridge crew. I mean, if they're going to be the ones installing them and measuring and doing the physical work, that's something that they could be looking into too. I don't know that that's an engineering job. Here is him calculating drainage for permit requirements. That's perfectly normal and what we would expect. Realigning the channel, that's also under his purview there for certain culverts. I see OS 105 that we're working on. He was part of that issue too, and that's all good. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't think the commission has given the engineer any direction, and we need to do that. So I think we need to tell him what we're hiring him for, because ultimately,
How much do we pay him so much per
it's
hour?
it's $1,000 a month. It's
$1,000 a
900 and odd a month, and he
And,
comes
that-
1 hour, 8-hour day.
1 hour, 1 8-hour day is what he works here. And
But he has done other correspondence, you know, but he physically comes up here for a day. And the correspondence is great. I mean, he was more than willing to send me all these discussion topics. But what I'm saying is, for this last year, we haven't directed him.
if you ask him to do more direction, though, we'll probably have to pay more, wouldn't we?
Well, we need to prioritize what we want him to work on.
Yeah, no, I'm not against that, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, that's probably, if we ask him to be involved more, it may cost more.
Well, but what I'm saying is I don't think he needs to be involved in everything. You know, I think it needs to be specific things. And if we're just paying him because we need someone to do these inspections, which we're already having his company do, or we need to get him to finalize the permits and put all that paperwork together, that's fine. That's all part of our cost of doing business. But if we're going to look at specific ways to, like what my example is, if there's a way to do poured concrete culverts that we could possibly potentially do ourselves, we need to be exploring that option. We need to see the cost breakdown, we need to see the equipment list, we need to see potential project sites, that kind of a thing. We need to scale something countywide that we can implement ourselves, and he needs to help us do that. otherwise we're kind of just paying for ideas that we'll never be able to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like $1 million bridge, we can put $1 million bridge in anywhere. We're gonna apply for those once a year. But that's not gonna help the overall issue. Like, I will use
You want
Mr.
more
Bell
of
as
a
an example.
county plan,
Mhm.
more of an organized plan,
Mhm.
long-term type thing.
Right, exactly,
The priorities, probably,
exactly,
what to do, yeah.
right. So, that was all that I had on the updates for the highway department. I have also been approached again about holding evening meetings. I really think we need to do that.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for calling back.
Well, we discussed that once, and the issue wasn't the issue that we may have to pay overtime or something to, the people or employees that come in, and, wasn't that the issue, one of them?
Well, I wouldn't say that we would.
And I'm not against that, I'm just saying.
No, I wouldn't say that we would demand that any particular, I mean, I think department heads can visit us on a Monday morning, that's fine, we're already paying them to be
Yeah.
here.
Right.
But as far as us making ourselves available, I've had a lot of pressure about that. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I agree, and there's no reason we can't do once a month, or we can't do once every other month, or whatever. But to me, there's no reason that the three of us can't meet and hold a meeting in an evening. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. I don't know about outdoor, but.
I can see no purpose in it. If you wanna have some town hall meetings in your districts, I think that's fine, but I can see no reason to have a formal commission meeting at night when we're meeting from 10 to 2 now, and we have a noon hour. I absolutely, Mr. Bell was in here, he's a full-time farmer. He found time, if they have issues, they'll be here. And if I'm going to go to a drag-down fight, I'm not interested. Or am I interested in a whole bunch of negativity being brought to this commission? We have enough problems now.
well, I think we're
You
hired
can,
and
you and
elected.
Randy can hold a meeting, but
I
you
have
probably
held,
won't
I
be
have
there
held a
that
town hall
night.
meeting and participated in them yearly since before I was a commissioner, so I have no problem with it, obviously. What I'm saying is I've had people from your own district ask me, when are you gonna make yourselves available in the evening? You know, it's not unheard of, and it's not something that we can't provide. And like I said, if you don't wanna do it every month, we can do it every other month. We can do it for the quarter. I don't really have any objections to ideas. You're just saying you don't wanna do it.
No, I can see no benefit in holding evening meetings. No benefit.
Do you think you'd get that many more?
Input is always available. They know my name, they know my address, they know my telephone number. If they want input, they can give me input. Are we done today? I'm ready to go.
No, I'm gonna make the motion. I move to establish once a month evening meetings for the commission.
Any date or time, or?
No, I
anything
think
like
that could be discussed. I think that could be determined. I know Dawn,
So we, instead of having it at 10 till 2, or whatever, we would have it on a, one week we would have, out of a month, we would have it in the evening.
5 to 7 or 7 to 9 or whatever you wanted. They can, I mean, we have the right to determine that. But my motion is to establish that it's going to happen.
Well, I guess I'll second it, because I'm not against it, and I don't, well, I could get to go to that evening meeting as easy as this morning meeting, once a month.
Right.
Now, like, in the summer, I would not have it, because we'll be farming, you know,
That's,
harvesting, so I wouldn't do it in, from like now till October. Well, the thing is, that's just it. Maybe you could, but it might have to be later. Farmers, you know, like, we're gonna be busy in the summers and in the fall. You know, we might be working till 10 at night, cutting milo or something. So that's one thing we'd have to consider though. But like if you're January, February, March, I don't think nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying, and there's not necessarily going to be a best time. Sure, there's a worst time, but there's not necessarily going to be a best time.
I know we have a lot of other meetings all over the place in the evenings anyway. But the thing is, we may not, if we're busy, like Al, Joe, or me, we may not be able to make that. If we're cutting weed or something, you know, that's the only issue there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, let's just look at next month, for example. In May, I mean, that's only 3 Mondays from now to the first May meeting.
Well, we're gonna be getting busy in May with planting milo, beans.
I would agree with you, Randy, from 1st of April to the 1st of November.
That's the one thing, like farmers, and I know a lot of people ain't farmers anymore, very few of us really around anymore. Most people have a, 9 to 5 job type of thing, they could get off in the evenings. But it would affect him and me in that time. But I'd be for it, I'm not against it, I mean.
Oh, and I'm not
Whether
trying
I
to
mean-
inconvenience the board.
No, I know.
But
well,
I believe
yeah.
that it's our duty to do something like this, so.
I'm not, I mean, we meet now, I don't, it doesn't bother me meeting in the evening, and I know Al Joe, I think, has a lot more work to do, he's a lot more busy than I am farming, he has a lot going on, so I can see your point, Al Joe. I don't have that much, I'm a hobby farmer, and I'm most halfway retired, so it's not that big a deal to me. I don't know if we could set someday, and if Al Joe can't make it if he's busy, I guess that's the way to be. But to do it in June, July, August, again, I don't know.
Well, why don't we try to do one before then, and then we'll try to do them after that. If you want to have an actual designated break of not doing it, that's fine by me. But I think we need to have one soon. I mean, there are a lot of questions up in the air.
But if it's gonna be a question and answer for 5 hours, like Al Joe said, everybody quizzing us to death, I don't know if that's gonna be very productive. Look at all the business we had today, we're still here, and we've covered a lot of stuff. And if we got 20 questions coming from the crowd, you're gonna be here, you're gonna have an 8-hour meeting. Now, and I'm not against that, I guess, but he's got a point, I think, where you're gonna have an evening thing, there might be a bunch of disgruntled people coming here and just wanna yell at us. Which maybe that's their.
I signed up for that.
Well, I know, I did too. Well, they could come in here now though too. I'm not against, let's try one time. I'll say let's try one. And if it goes terrible, maybe we can change it.
Okay, so I'd like to amend my motion because I think I said monthly. So can you just take out the word monthly, please strike the word monthly and establish an evening commission meeting? And let's pick an evening and let's do one before the season is in full swing. Next week is not good for me.
The season is in full swing.
It's gonna get busy really right now.
Well, it's getting
It's
dark.
in full swing, let me click.
We
It's
should-
already it's still getting dark early enough that it's not,
8 o'clock, it's still
seven-
light.
Between 7:30 and 8. the
Well,
sun is down.
it's gonna be,
We got cattle to do, we got cattle to put on grass, we got cattle to work, we've got corn to plant. We'll be
Beans.
planting beans, we'll be planting
Milo.
milo, we'll be cutting hay. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will not be able to make it.
probably in May is not good. May and June are.
I'd say I already have appointments through May 20th.
Okay,
So May 20th,
for Mondays.
yes.
So let's do the last Monday in May. That's
And
Is
it's
that a
actually
holiday?
Memorial
It's
Day.
Memorial
yes.
Day,
good, and then we'll do it the next day.
a Tuesday night.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll vote for it.
All right,
We'll try one.
so,
It's easier, I think, like for Al Joe and I.
so
to
the
do it.
motion says to establish an evening meeting, an evening commission meeting, right? Strike the word monthly. And those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, one opposed, motion carries. And we will establish it for May 28th. Should we say 7?
7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we
Dawn,
have a
do you have
busy
a
building,
preference?
we'll be here at midnight.
Or would you like to attend? I guess you don't have to attend. I will,
I do. If you're in session, I have to attend.
are you sure?
Mhm.
Okay.
'Cause minutes have to be,
I'll record minutes.
yeah, no, I can't shirk responsibility.
Okay, well, are you okay with the 28th, or what did I say, 28th is a Tuesday?
That's that Memorial
I
Day
don't have a
week.
voice in it, so you guys.
Well, I'm
pick
just
the day
checking
and
that you
I'll-
don't have a conflict, okay. So May 28th at 7 PM.
Alright.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay.
But having them left like that the rest of the summer, I don't know. Maybe.
That's fine, if you would, if.
Well,
you'd
July, I could see middle of July, because
After harvest
harvest
or
is
something.
about over and we're farming, but it's not.
Once
really
between
good.
harvest and.
Yeah, actually, July and August isn't that bad because, you know, we're done, it's middle of summer, we're done caught up farming. Now you get September, October again, November is very busy.
Well, where I
But
come
maybe-
from in
but-
dairy country, there is no time of year. It's 24/7 and calving every day, any day.
Yeah,
So to me, I mean, not that that's my income right now, but I understand your concern. However, I do think we have a responsibility, so I appreciate at least the one go at it. I think that'll be well received.
Scheduled appointments or just an open?
No, let's not do agenda setting
We'll
for.
have to have an agenda if we're having a meeting, and we'll need to follow it.
We do not need to schedule anything. We can have an agenda that allows for open session. We can approve the minutes we can do the call to order and approve the minutes and whatnot from before. I don't know that we need to necessarily make appointments for individuals, is what I'm getting at. We can limit everyone to 2 minutes.
So in other words, you're going to have a town hall meeting.
Well, we need to see what happens. I'm
You're
not.
gonna have a town hall meeting.
We
If
may or-
A meeting is we're going to take actions on items. But if we have no items, then we will have no action, so it becomes a town hall meeting, where it's question and answer.
Well, if we get people, then we get people. If we don't get anyone, there are plenty of
I'm
things that we
saying
need to
it's
follow
not
up
a
on.
meeting, it's a town
well,
hall.
we'll probably have to schedule some business, cause each week.
Yeah, if there's something, we don't know between
We're gonna
now
have
and
an
then.
agenda, and we're gonna have to have some agenda like we do every week. So if you got something come up, we're gonna have to address it.
What I'm saying is I do not suggest that we schedule Michael Hare to come in on behalf of the highway
No.
department at 7 PM is what I'm
Right,
saying.
we don't have to do that, just for
That's
updates
not-
what he's doing.
Right, I'm not interested in scheduling employees.
I think have an agenda for items that need to be addressed,
Mhm,
immediately or that are serious.
And to be honest,
Like
it's,
Michael having an update every week, I mean, yeah, that's good, but we don't need that,
right,
not that night.
and I think you personally will find this most beneficial because this is your first year. Whatever gets out on the table and laid in front of you to begin with, you'll know, and it's not gonna be any type of surprise when you hear it again the second year and again the third year. So, just like Mr. Bell's issue with his bridge, apparently he's been in here before about that bridge. I remember when he was in here about closing that road, which is not
He asked me that
that
when I
road,
was,
I don't
when
think,
I
or
was
I think it's,
campaigning, he was asking me about that same bridge. That was last fall, he was wanting to know about doing that, if I, getting in there. And I said, well, I would deal with you guys on it.
right.
Yeah.
So those are the things we need to talk about,
Yeah.
you know,
But we got 20 bridges in the county that need addressed, right? So what do you gotta prioritize, I guess, which one's most important and cost effective?
well, I sent you the list that was given to me, as far as what the highway department has established as priorities, so we can discuss that too.
Yeah, okay.
And,
But I wouldn't do one in June,
That's fine.
maybe July. We'll see how this one goes.
Mhm.
This Memorial Day weekend kind of, that's a busy time there. Half the people will be at the lake and all this and that, but that's okay, I guess. All right.
okay, so any other follow-up? I think, the job description, could I just change the one correction and then send that to Dawn?
I had several more.
More?
Although I haven't read it all either.
Okay, will you just make notes then and bring that? Okay, and then I can redo that and resend it. Anything else that we need to go over? Do we have any go ahead.
I was just gonna say that you might wanna talk to Michael about the sign that's on 120th. Cause a lot of people have told me they don't even see the sign because it's kinda behind the trees. It's when you come off that hill and they've redone that, and people have gotten caught on that. It's real soft and it'll pull you off the road if you're not careful.
And where's the sign at?
It's way back and it just says road work. It doesn't say anything about caution or anything.
Yeah, I've been up there, I see that, where they put that gravel so thick there.
Yeah, a lot of people have.
That needs to
commented.
maybe be spread out a little
Yeah,
thinner.
It says road work.
yeah, road work ahead. And it's really dangerous because a lot of people don't see that sign and if they do, it's, you know, you think road work, well, you don't realize it's gonna be a,
It should say caution before you get there.
yeah. Well, I think the sign is too
Slow.
far back, yeah.
Slow, because that, yeah, coming up that hill from the south going north there. Yeah, I drove over and saw that, yeah, that's,
I got it. Send him an email.
Thank you.
Yes. Anything else? I wanted to ask what our upcoming agenda is for the interviews. We had a cancellation and Don, that one's not being rescheduled. That was an HR interview and it's canceled and not rescheduled. Okay, so.
we got one next 23rd.
But what I wanted to do today was establish what we're going to put together for a proposal. We have not discussed money or, and we also, we need to look at that, job description thoroughly before we actually employ someone.
Okay.
We don't need to go into executive session because we don't have an employee for it. But do you happen to have access to the budget information? I did the math on the last employee, so it comes out to 30,000. Let's see, 20. She had listed under HR.
HR director?
Yeah. She had listed 2544. So that was 30,528 as a salary. Gross. I want to say the whole budget was right around 40 is where my memory.
Yeah, I think it's
Takes
around
me.
40, I just looked at that yesterday.
Did you look at it? And did I ever send you all the job descriptions?
Of what, HR director?
No, anything. I had a whole email full of. I didn't send that. Oh.
Sometimes send them to me.
Yeah, I will. I can do that.
Well, the thing is, with 30,000 for salary, you know, that's like the lady we interviewed the other day.
Mhm.
42,150 is what we put down.
42.
Thank you. Okay, let me make a note.
Salary is 35,150.
It may be
I'm
good.
getting 3528, 2544 monthly.
I don't know, it says
Okay.
35,150.
Well, that was for the budget. That's why. That wasn't the actual dollar offer. Okay, so tell me again, 40.
42,150 is a total, or 7,000 contractuals and commodities.
And Dawn, do you have an updated amount from what had to been taken out from that for your office to perform those functions? Just so we know what we're working with for the end of the rest of the year. And would we like to establish a start date if we're going to, I think we should move forward with extending the offer and see where that goes
To the one,
to the first interview.
yeah, would be
The only interview.
the only interview. yeah.
Well, we had a cancellation and then,
We have another one coming up the 23rd, all right?
That's EMS.
Oh, that's CMS, yeah, you're right.
would you hand me
Yes.
that? Thank you. I don't need that phone, thank you.
So were we going to try to pursue more HR director candidates, or?
Well, I felt that we were all impressed with our.
Oh, I
mean,
am.
We prioritized our choices, and we
Okay.
did that
That's
interview,
fine.
and we had the other
Make the
ones.
offer?
I do think.
That's fine with me,
I think
yeah.
the longer we wait, the more we get
No.
ourselves caught into a trap, because if that's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If it's not,
Yeah.
then we'll know and we
Then-
move on to round two.
Sounds good to me, yeah. Good point.
So, Dawn, would you like the?
I'm still looking on your question.
Okay. These go over there too.
$32,467 in payroll.
So you took the contractual
Yes.
part of the budget, and what did that come out to hourly? Did 25, 44 times 12 equals divided by, is it 2080? Isn't it 2080?
Yes.
Okay.
Hurt your phone there, huh? Hurt your phone.
Yeah.
Originally,
2,900,
1442
about 2,900 a month is what we figured, the salary. We budgeted.
So the issue is, we have 33,142 left. Do you believe that we've purchased everything we needed to purchase for that department out of its budget?
I think so.
Okay. So the rest of what we're dealing with is all payroll. And I have the last rate that we established for the last hire at $14.68 an hour, which we did do as salary. And why did we decide salary versus hourly? Just
So that was a consistent wage.
oh, that's right. It doesn't fluctuate. Okay.
Would you say an hour?
It comes out to $14.68. The way I see it is, we established enough of a budget to do this preliminarily that we have a little bit of flexibility with what we're offering as far as the salary. We may just want to go ahead and designate the remainder of the budget as the salary, less what needs to be taken out to pay the clerk's office this next month, and maybe month or two. We'll have at least a 2 week, if not more, gap. Would we like to establish a start date? Because that would also,
First of all, we're gonna see if she wants to do it.
right, but when you formulate a job offer, you put forth the expectations. We'd like you to start off at this amount on this date, and it's going to be salary versus hourly, et cetera, et cetera. So I think we need to just put that out there and formulate it, that this is your benefit package, take it or leave it, is basically
I'd probably
where it ends
say
up.
June 1st, probably, huh?
I think that gives an ample amount of
Well,
time.
you got a month then to,
6 weeks.
to move and all that stuff, or whatever, if they're going.
7 weeks, yeah, I would say.
Because we're right now, we're the 15th, that's 6 weeks.
Okay,
Or, I'd do 6 weeks.
I like the June 1st idea.
Because if they're really serious about it, it'd take,
Right, to
move
gather
and
everything up.
all this stuff. Then that would be right at half a year mark too,
Mhm.
middle of the month, year.
Well, almost, yeah, July.
Yeah, July 1st.
But that's okay, yeah.
You're right, yeah,
We'd-
that'd be 5 months.
I mean, I think the start date's negotiable if that comes to be the determining factor, but let's just put one out there.
Yeah, I
It's June
would.
1st, are you okay with that,
Yeah.
Joe?
That's fine.
June 1st, and then we'll stick with the salary offer.
So what would that be from June 1st to the end of the year, 5 months, 7 months?
It would
huh?
be 7 months.
7 months, so that amount, salary for 7 months.
Mhm. I mean, I think we have just enough to do it if Dawn's able to keep maximizing.
We're in open session, I'm not sure we should be discussing salary, and I think that could be
Violation.
I don't think it's a violation, I think it's something that maybe we don't publicly put out.
Okay.
Because it limits us to the next person or the next person, or.
That's
Yeah.
true. Do you want to go into executive session for 5 minutes? To
Well, I
determine that
don't
number?
care, but I just think throwing these numbers
Yeah.
out here is not beneficial
Probably true.
for us.
Yeah.
That's fine, except anyone can access the payroll, but.
Well, yeah,
But I
the
see what you're
offer
saying.
has-
It's preemptive.
It isn't part of the pay.
I understand. I respect that. Would you like to do 5 minutes of executive session so we can establish a number? Because I would like Dawn to mail out the offer in its
That's
complete.
why if we're ready to make an offer, yeah, we'll need to.
Okay, I move to enter recess into executive session for 5 minutes for the purpose of discussing job offer details pursuant to KSA 75-4319 2B. To number 3, to discuss employer-employee negotiations. To reconvene in the basement meeting room of the courthouse with the commission and the county clerk.
Second.
If there is no further discussion, all those in favor vote aye.
No.
Aye. None opposed.
If we don't get a positive response from her.
I wasn't sure that all 4 had been taken care of. Okay, I believe that is it for now.
Okay.
If you would
Now
just
next-
get back to me with your corrections on the EMS.
I'll have it Monday.
And,
And now next Monday and Tuesday, we got, Tuesday
For
we got an
what?
interview, right?
Yeah.
The 23rd,
Okay,
with the it's an HR person. Not
Okay.
HR, but EMS.
Okay.
director person.
okay.
Okay. I think, thank you too much, I can't keep track.
I will be on the phone next Monday,
Okay.
so I will call in. Are you the vice chair?
Yeah, I'll go.
Would you please run the meeting then
What are we
for the
doing
agenda next Monday?
next Monday?
Yes.
I don't know, what do we have?
Um,
Anything exciting?
next Monday, we have, most of you raised yourself. I've had Wanda Backstrom, I had Michael and Tanner. Oh, Wanda has moved to a later time, so we have Wanda Backstrom and Michael and Tanner.
Okay, perfect.
Short and sweet.
I
Hopefully
guess
short
we'll
and sweet.
adjourn until the 22nd at 10 a.m.
Oh, darling.